Hello, hello. Welcome to the Horror Rumble.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
I'm excited for this one.
I am too.
Very.
It's been a few years since I've actually sat down and watched a lot of these. So,
Well, and you did recently go back through them. So I'm interested to hear what your take on them was, because we haven't really talked too in detail about it. So it's a surprise to me too.
Yeah, just don't be too upset if my memory has failed me in my old age. So,
I mean, I jotted down the notes. It's basically more about feelings than actually most of the plot of the movie. We don't get into. I hope if you're watching this, you know the Texas Chainsaw movies.
And if you don't, I hope you go out and watch them.
Yeah, I hope it inspires you. Big T, welcome. Thank you. Glad you're pumped. My mail, Flesh Wound sent me here. Well, I appreciate you coming, and thank you, Dan and the guys at Flesh Wound. Our good friend Chris over at Slasher Home Video. Blu-rays, great opening animation. Thank you again. Oh, I see someone I feel like hasn't been by the show in a while. Sean McManus.
Oh.
Good to see you, Sean. Missed you. Good buddy Mikey. Oh, wait a minute.
What's up, Mikey?
Son of a bitch.
You're not that important anymore, bud.
I guess not. Oh, anyway, thank you all for coming. We got a great show for you and a great bunch of entrants. So should we get them on?
Yeah. You want to bring them on? Or you want me to?
You bring them on, and I'll bring on the other.
All right. Well,
were you doing that?
Yeah. Where are we at here? There he is. What's up, Kory?
How you gentlemen doing tonight? It's good to be here with you.
Thanks for coming from S'mores and Doors, everybody.
Yeah. Got a couple of these movies I don't think I've ever seen, but be fun to talk about the ones I have. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. We're happy to have you.
Yep.
And
right. You ready?
Here, I think so.
There he Jake is. With his fingers in his eyes.
Slaughterport.
Yeah, brother. I'm excited, man. I actually like this franchise quite a bit. Good. And shame on you two for not having seen all these movies yet. Well, the two Corys over here.
Hey, I only missed one. You know the other ones.
We've been running around watching License to Drive too much together, so
Yeah. There you go.
Or whatever.
We got to get you guys in the sequel. All right.
We ready?
I think so.
All righty.
And adjusted for proportions, still probably not accurate.
You know, that drawing still sucks.
Thank you. I know. That's why I said still probably not accurate.
But tonight, we got don't put it back up again. So we got new strings in the Fender, the amps on 14, so let's go.
Let's do it.
And for those who don't know, that was Lauren. I don't think either one of us said his name.
Oh, Lauren from Visited by Voices. I'm.
Hey, Dan, I
thought the drawing was Fester.
Dan, I look completely different when I'm having a stroke. That's not accurate to that either.
Oh, he's got a gun. Look out.
Better watch out. He's popped. Yeah,
What's up, Jay?
I thought Lawrence was Michael Berryman first.
Now, Michael Berryman now.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Like Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes.
I'm sorry.
Just stay on, Jess. He'll get it fixed eventually.
I'm not sorry. Okay.
All right.
You guys. I mean, think about this, guys.
I still like how he's holding that Coke behind him.
He's sneaking that soda.
By the way, that was Jay the Stingray, and this is Orc.
Those suck.
Can I get a real talk?
Real talk.
What's up?
Oh, double real
Oh,
talk.
you got, is it a
Wow.
zero sugar?
It is.
All
I
right,
have,
those
I have
suck.
a small can.
Those suck,
though,
both
because-
of you.
Whoa. Oh,
That's not actually what I'm drinking.
good to see you, Jay and Orc.
Good to
Glad
see
you
you
guys
too.
are here.
It's good to be here, gentlemen. It's an honor.
And just for the record, this show is not sponsored by Coke, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but this is a Coke Vanilla.
Ah,
But it's not sponsored by Coke, I promise. I'm
Yes.
just cheap and didn't want to actually buy Mountain Dew.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, we ready?
For the
I don't
first
think
time,
we have a drawing for the next one.
yeah, for the first time here, I think on the Horror Rumble,
Yeah.
we have Andrew from Hey, Isn't That Devon Graham?
Man, I was on the edge of my seat waiting to see this fantastic artist's interpretation of it.
Next one, I promise.
All right, I can't wait.
All right. Well,
Thanks for coming on, man. It's been trying to get you on for a while now.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to be here to talk about a franchise with 0 bad movies. I'm stoked.
Ooh, we're gonna disagree, but
Oh, I know it.
should be fun.
all righty. So for now, last but definitely not least, Mr. Dan Shine.
Sunshine.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on,
what's
Dan?
up, man?
Nothing much. I made it in time, so hope I didn't hold you up.
No. You're fine.
Perfect timing.
Sweet. I am excited to talk about this. There's some of you here I've never really talked Texas Chainsaw Massacre with, so
I've got a couple of, well, at least one really funny story, at least funny to me. So I'm sure a couple of people will find it cringy, but that's all right. So
Hey, Grave Abyss.
what's up, Grave Abyss?
Kory
I
agrees with you.
disagree.
I think it's okay.
Hey, old buddy. Ben Grimm.
what's up, bud? Oh, and in case I didn't say it, hello to everybody in the chat. I'm sorry, I had slight memory slips. So
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Real talk.
Again
You got a
already?
slurp? Come on.
I don't
Did
slurp.
you already down a whole sody, Orc? My God, we're like 5
No, I'm working on
minutes
it.
into
These are the
It's
mini
only like
cans, though. They
7
can't
ounces,
release
dude.
regular size fucking cans.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I know.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
I hate it so much.
Real
And then they up the
talk,
price too. Like
mini version.
10 mini cans is like $7. I'm like, what the fuck?
Getting pricey.
Like my addiction's cheap, like my women.
Oh,
Thanks,
my.
Mikey.
Maybe Sam's Cola will make a Dreamland or whatever the hell it's called.
Walton's Dreamland, it just kills
Yeah.
you.
And Mikey, one of these days your schedule's gonna align. I love these guys.
All right.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. It's arguably, you know how we always talk about the big 3 slashers. Most people would agree it's Freddy, Michael, and Jason. But would most agree number 4 is Leatherface?
No,
I
he's
think
my
that it
number
should
3.
be over Freddy any day.
Oh no,
Absolutely.
that wasn't even up for a debate here.
No.
Bro, the first movie alone is better than all the Freddy movies combined.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow. First and
No.
only time on the Horror Rumble? Really?
Better than all the sequels.
Oh
by
wow,
far.
first and last. Yeah.
I would I would put Texas Chainsaw even over Nightmare 1, although two very different movies.
Of
But
course,
I would
yeah.
not disagree with that.
If
can
you talk
stuff
about,
that in the
I mean,
sand.
I think that at first neither Nightmare on Elm Street nor Texas Chainsaw Massacre were slasher films. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what the difference is, and that's why people probably put it to the side because they can feel that it's different. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a Southern Gothic, and Nightmare on Elm Street is a ghost, is a haunting film. The sequels change all that, but at least initially, they're not.
You about to take us to Flavortown over here, brother?
See, we already have somebody joking.
That's what happens when you put a spree in your Coke.
I didn't know you found Rogaine in your life, Jake.
This is on that trail, baby.
Well, Lauren, you do make a good point, but they will be always slasher icons to me. I understand, though.
Well, it's no different
Completely.
than Aerosmith getting lumped in with hair bands. I mean,
Sure, but I think that's a slippery slope because horror icons just can't all be slashers.
No, but I mean, the
I
Universal monster.
even argue that Leatherface in the first film is not even the main villain of the film.
No, he's not.
No, I can agree with that. But he has become, and like you said, a lot thanks to the sequels, a slasher icon.
I think small town poverty is the real villain.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh. However, look at the Atari game. I was going to bring up, we don't normally talk too much about this, but it has some merchandise. But the Atari game is like one of the first horror-themed video games, isn't it?
Maybe.
Put out by Charles Band Wizard Video Games, right?
I think, yeah, by Wizard, yeah.
That's an expensive cartridge these days.
Oh, wow. Like you can't even tell it's Leatherface, though, I'm
Oh
assuming.
no.
It's like
I
a
think he has
green,
like a green apron or something, right?
yeah, he's like a green block.
It's a square.
Yeah. It worked for your imagination at that time.
Sure.
Did you play it, Jess, when it came out?
No, but I mean, I've gone back and seen it. I wish we had it on like the Intellivision when I was a kid, but no. I had Burger Time and Locomotion and Defender, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Pitfall.
Very, very eager to hear everybody's thoughts on this franchise because I have strong opinions both ways on some of these movies. So,
Well, let's roll it on. It's a big one.
All right.
So
there we go.
Probably the biggest drop off of a sequel ever from the
So-
original film.
But how could it not be, though? That's the problem, right?
we'll get to that. I may disagree with that even.
Well,
It's
I'll go ahead and kick
country. You
this.
can be wrong all you want.
Oh,
I'll go ahead and kick this off for us here. I remember watching the first one. I was actually living in a basement apartment, so it was real easy to turn off all the lights, and it was nice and dark. I'm sitting down there, and I watch it, and by the end of it, I'm like totally freaked out. It's a great movie, absolutely love it. Scared the shit out of me, but I didn't watch it again for up until 3 weeks ago. And going back and rewatching it, apparently I spent too much time away from it or something because I was totally misremembering stuff. Like the ending when she's like climbing up in the back of the truck, I thought she was climbing over the tailgate, and she's not. She's going up over the side. I thought Leatherface had his chainsaw like right up under her ass, just holding it there. He doesn't. So I completely misremembered it, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this is not the movie I remember watching. So for me, it kind of went down a notch, but it's still a really good movie. I absolutely love it. So, and I'll probably go back and rewatch it again much more recently, considering it was close to 20 years since the last time I'd watched it. So, Jess,
I disagree
you disagree?
with Chris.
Oh,
I'll just go ahead and say it. When I first watched this as a kid, I didn't care for it. I didn't have much restriction in the video store. In fact, my parents signed something I could rent basically anything, but my mom told me I couldn't rent Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And of course, eventually I rented it, being the horror fan I was and am. And I thought it was not scary. Didn't have blood squirting out. Didn't have, the slasher blood and guts, as we were talking about slashers earlier. And so it went over my head.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, but it wasn't until my 20s that I really saw it for the masterpiece it was. And now I do absolutely love it. And that's
I do wanted to jump in here again and say that I do think there are scenes in that movie that come off really brutal, but like you said, there's virtually no blood in that movie at all. So, but just like when he slams the door after he drags somebody, up that ramp, when he puts, man, I'm having memory issues today. When he puts the one person up on the hook, just
the
different images like that. Yeah.
In the image, it's brutal. It's very brutal.
Perfect mix of like just music and just the actor selling it, because you didn't need to see the gore. That looked like it hurt like hell, and it stuck in your memory as though you saw it ripping right through the flesh. Absolutely.
Oh, and thank God Franklin died. Oh my God, that guy's annoying.
I love it. I've grown to love that character too. You love to hate him.
I love Franklin. I think he's fantastic. Paul Bertain did a great job with his performance. He's ahead of the curve amongst everybody in that whole movie. I mean, I don't understand. Why do people not like him? Do people not like his accent, or they don't like the fact that he's like not happy to be there? Or complains?
Well, I know.
He's annoying as fuck.
Thank you, Jay.
I don't find him annoying at all. I don't know. I never did.
I've never wanted a handicapped person to die more.
Well, are you sure? Define handicap.
For all
you never said that to me, okay, buddy? All right, that's fucked up.
For all you people who are new to this channel or this show, welcome to the Horror Rumble.
Yes. I mean, anybody, what are your thoughts on part one? Dan, did you have more?
Oh, absolutely. I think the original is one of the all-time great horror movies. If you want to lump it as a slasher, that's fine, but it is much more than that. Growing up, I did a lot of traveling, so I had a sense of being in like very rural, like middle of nowhere type places that you drive through, and it hit me awfully hard. I mean, it's about a decaying part of the country that there's civilization is just moved on without them kind of deal. And I think Texas Chainsaw, I put it above Halloween personally, and I understand that's comparing two classics, but I think Texas Chainsaw has aged better. I think it is a timeless movie, and there's not a lot that we can truly call timeless, but I would consider the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre to be a timeless film. It's scary as hell. It still is, and it shook me, for again, anytime I'd go on a road trip when we were in a more less populated part of the country, including Texas, I always had that in my head. 100%. You'd pass these ramshackle buildings, cabins, whatever, and you'd wonder, like, that might actually be out there waiting for me. I think, I don't know. For me, it is the best in the franchise. It's not even close. I think the original is the best. I'm sure there's going to be some debate on that tonight. I know there already has, but yeah, it's a perfect film from top to bottom. I still get blown away by it today.
Yeah, it's my favorite horror movie of all time. and it has never been topped. I saw it for the first time when I was just a little kid, when I was like 6, because I grew up in Texas, obviously, and that was like a movie that my whole family told me to check out. And I mean, I don't know, I could go on and on about it. I don't want to hold it up too much, but I'll say this. So last June, I got to visit the house that's in Kingsland.
Mm-hmm.
They moved the house there. I'm sure you guys know that. And when I was there, that was the first time I ever like understood. That was the first time that I like ever understood what a lot of like nerds must feel like when they go to like Star Wars conventions or something. I don't know. It felt unreal to me, and I was just like popping for every freaking thing around the corner, just every little thing. When I was just like, I couldn't stop looking at the staircase. I just couldn't stop when I went upstairs, and I would just see the window, like where the grandma was sitting, in front of, like, it just blew my mind. I just love this movie so much. It's everything I want in a horror movie. I mean, it doesn't have any boobs, but it doesn't need them. It's perfect.
Might have had some of that hanging on the hook somewhere. But,
yeah, probably. Maybe some bones, if anything.
I didn't get to go inside, but I had that feeling of the Nightmare House being on that street the first time, which most of the inside was a set anyway in the movie. So
yeah.
What other movie was that house in? Recently, I saw someone from Close
Halloween.
Ground.
No. It's also a film like you feel it. You feel Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It makes you can be in your air conditioned house and it will still make you hot. There's just something about it. And look, we'll talk a little bit later about trying to recreate it. I don't think they ever were able to. And certainly modern day, for me, it's almost impossible to recreate that in the smartphone generation. I'm sure there'll be some fighting later on about that.
Let me ask you a question about this, because I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I stand by this 100%. When I look at that movie and how amazing it is, I don't really think that Toby Hooper is a genius. I think that there's like just a variety of happy accidents.
Lightning in a bottle. That movie is.
That's what I say.
I think a lot of it to Dan is the 16 millimeter film. Is it overexposure with the sun, and it feels gritty and hot and sweaty, and they were, from what I've heard, they were actually is miserable.
Would we have had Black Christmas? Would we have had Halloween? Friday the 13th if this film didn't exist?
You're probably right.
Put this into perspective, though, the other way, because you're right, Jay, absolutely. This film broke down the doors, but I want to put things into perspective about how groundbreaking this movie was. So when you guys think about this film's place in film and horror history, we tend to think of it as part of the modern generation of films. But you have to understand that this film was released only 14 years after Psycho. That's like saying, like, today's movies today compared to Slither's release in 2006. Wow. That's how big a jump we had. Now, Slither to today, to Crimes of the Future, I'd argue is not that big of a jump. But that difference between Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, both based on Guillen, that's where the connection comes in too, is pretty huge, right? Yeah. The film had always kind of a mystique to it, which I think Jess, actually, you kind of referenced already. My parents wouldn't let me rent it either. And they were cool with anything but certain Italian titles, which they I think instinctively knew to be scared of. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre. My dad had cut himself with a chainsaw when I was a kid. Not a serious wound, but I think there was still some fear that associations were being made. So one of my early birthday memories, my sister rented the film and brought it home, and my parents were away, and we watched it. And it completely lived up to everything I wanted it to be. And I think a lot of that is simply that it is one of those films that feels like the end of the world. It feels as apocalyptic as a Mad Max movie, even though there's no script reason, right? There's nothing in the story to make it feel that way. but it's shot in a way that feels like everyone is living in the afterworld already. The people in the town that are drunk in the graveyard, the people working in the shops, everything is as desperate and as apocalyptic as it gets. The film looks sun-bleached. It looks decayed. Everything has age on it. And I think that's why it feels real. And I think it's not about the murders, because it really isn't. It is about living in that world for, what is it, 79 minutes? It's not a long movie. You live in that world, it gets under your skin, and it can do no wrong. Is it technically flawed? Sure. But you'll never notice because it's just such a powerful experience.
It works for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, as crazy as that sounds, a PG rating was a very different thing back then.
But I mean, that's the power of the movie. Is I know somebody else is probably going to bring this up if I don't, but you know, it cuts away from all the gore. You know, the gore and the hardcore violence. It just speaks to how powerful it is that people see that anyway. You know, like Jess, your mom didn't want you to watch it. She probably heard, "Oh, it's the goriest thing you'll ever see." You know,
well, she'd seen it.
Oh, she had seen it.
They're horror fan, yeah. But you know,
that's cool.
It's that subtext, and I'm thinking, well, why watching it? Why did she want me to see it? You know, Jason and Freddy. There's more like heads being chopped off and
tits and stuff like that too. You know,
yeah.
But what there isn't is those really uncomfortable connections. Like when you think of the film, at least when I think of the film, I think of the sound of that chicken in the cage. I think of the sound of the metal door slamming. Yeah. I think of the guy mumbling inaudibly in the graveyard. It very much is an audio experience as much as it's a visual experience, and it's over fucking whelming the whole time.
That's a good point. It like there's something about the score and the sound design of that movie that's just really could drive you crazy. Like it's so hard because I can't say like, oh, they're just all geniuses. I just feel like it's just an amalgamation of the right decisions because they were using like tools and shit for that score, like just hammers and stuff and just random stuff. And a lot of it was circumstantial, I'm sure, because of their budget and their time, and their crew was all mostly local, I think, you know, so it's just crazy. And I can't think of any movie that comes close to it. Like my second favorite horror movie is Possession. I think it's just Child's Play by comparison.
It's funny because I'm as big a gore hound as the next guy, but I don't think it would have been the same. Like if they were able to get away with cutting people's heads off and all that, then I think the movie wouldn't have been as effective because there's nothing inherently scary about gore. Gore is fun for me. Even as a little kid, like I never got disturbed seeing the character's head get chopped off. That was always like, that is awesome. Texas Chainsaw wouldn't have been the same thing with heavy gore. And it's funny that for years and years, it was always known as this gore fest. And a lot of people have had this discussion, but yeah, you don't see the hook go in. You don't, any blood is just just blood after the fact stuff on hooks. It's a bloodless movie, pretty much. And yeah, sound design, just the look, you feel like you are there. And there's not a lot of movies that can make that claim. I feel like I'm in rural Texas and that I just walked into hell itself.
Real quick, while we're on sound, the only thing I want to say that I have to say that's important is a lot of horror movies I went into as a kid watching them, and they'd begin, and I was like, oh, this is just going to be another horror movie. The opening narration of this film, holy fuck, it gets me every single time. I'm like, is this real or is this not? And it gets me going, like my adrenaline gets pumping every single time. It's creepy as fuck, man.
And then you get the camera shutter sounds, which still to this day, like just hearing that gives me chills.
Yeah, yeah.
I think if you put that sound in a YouTube video, it gets a copyright.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
You know what creeps me out more than the camera shutter though is like that like grinding sound that follows it. It's freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
It's interesting because if you look at the footage that was coming back from the news footage from Vietnam, the film has a very similar aesthetic. And it's strange because, like, you know, I was born as the war was over, just over. So I can't say, like, oh, it reminded me of that. But there's something primal about that type of footage and the associations that are just in the culture that, yeah, it fires on all cylinders. And you know what the thing is? This is going to sound like heresy to say, but there's no great performances in that movie. You know, they're all adequate, I think, but there's no great acting. In fact, I think great acting would have hurt it because the film would have been more stylized in an overt way, right? Everything, I think Andrew's kind of right. Everything does feel like an accident. I'm not sure it really was, but it feels like an accident, and it feels real because of it. It has a spontaneity to it that I don't think you could do if you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, I wouldn't have called it bad acting because it works. Whatever it is, it works. But you're right. I get what you were saying.
Yeah, no, there's not like a Meryl Streep level performance.
No, they're not. Yeah,
in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but
classically trained.
Yeah. It's still, I do consider it a perfect film, and there's not a lot that I will say perfect because there's always something that you can change to make it better. But honestly, I don't think there's anything that I would do differently with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I wouldn't need to George Lucas it up at all. Like, it's just leave it. It's perfect. And I did want to mention Gunnar Hansen. I don't know if all of us are like convention people, but one of the most genuinely nice guys that you could meet at a convention. He would just sit and chat with you in the lobby. Like, he was a guy that actually, I think I can actually say, enjoyed the convention experience and conversing with his fans rather than just getting their $20-$30, whatever it was at that time. Really nice guy. And I feel, along with like Angus Scrim, some of those early people that I met at Fangoria Weekend of Horrors, he was just a class act, and I think will be missed for sure, and has been missed.
It's the only thing I'll say, because everybody's kind of hit the nail on the head. But man, this movie makes you feel something, whether the heat, the grittiness. And for me, this is still a movie that I'd prefer to watch it on VHS. The gritty, that gritty style. It's a movie I don't think that really benefits from Blu-ray 4K upscaling it any. And it's one of my favorite of all times. It's a classic. So.
Yeah, some people consider that Dark Sky DVD to be like the best presentation of the movie. I think I hear that a lot.
And I can understand having a preference. That's obviously what you like, and I wouldn't say that's wrong. But I mean, I got the 4K from Turbine recently, and it's just amazing because that's one of the things that I don't think anyone said yet, which has got to be said, is Daniel Pearl's cinematography is so beautiful in that movie. And seeing it like with the restoration they did, I just love it. I love the shot of the sky with the van coming through, the colors, and it's beautiful, man. It looks wonderful.
It's so weird to me, like, just going out and making this low budget movie, and the fact that it became a film that, not just horror history, that I think will go down in film history, period, because at this point we're talking a great era for film. Some would say the 70s is the greatest decade for film, period.
I definitely say the 70s is the greatest for sure.
Yeah, it's debatable, but certainly it's up there. And things were just changing so much. You're fresh out of Vietnam this point, I believe 74, if correct me if my history's wrong. And it was just Death Dream came out at around the same time, and that's one of my all-time favorite horror movies. It was ripe. And I don't know, maybe you could argue that we're getting into another excellent boom period, because I've watched a lot of fantastic movies this year. Cheap plug for Resurrection once again, please see it. So yeah, I don't know. I think we might be hitting another early 70s period, and I'm actually pretty excited.
Kory, anybody Any last you?
You bud.
Okay.
Have you?
Well, I mean, everyone said pretty much everything I could say. I just kind of tell my story about my history with it. It was one that I watched later in life. I was probably in high school, and I think part of it was because all that buildup of like people talking about it being raw, and you get the feeling it's too much for you to handle. And I remember trying to watch it one time, and Orc mentioned that intro, that John Larroquette intro, and I heard that camera shutter, and I was like, I'm not ready for this yet, and I shut it off. But I finally got it watched, and I was kind of like you, Jess. The first time I was a little underwhelmed, I guess. But from every time I watched it since, it grows on me more and more, and it's one I love, and also won our horror tournament. So
Hell yeah. It's kind of nice to hear too, because I always feel like I'm the only one that really happened to.
No, I was kind of the same way you were. I think
I should be ashamed.
You should be, Jess.
I should be anyway. You're right.
There's things you should be more ashamed of, but it's not like that.
True. God, it's true.
That drawing, first and foremost.
I'd love to see this movie like at a Texas drive-in, or just set one up like in the middle of nowhere. I would sweat my ass off for it, because I think it would be worth it just to get that full experience, just desert and Texas Chainsaw right on the drive-in screen.
I mean, these days even the drive-ins are digital, so you got to make sure it's a 35 millimeter print.
Have it right near Texarkana.
Or we get a 16 millimeter print. We just take our own project, out in the desert.
Next community meetup, we're just going to go to the middle of nowhere and just probably die, but it'll be worth it.
One thing I did want to add is the town I live in now. I think there might be a couple members of the Sawyer family living down the street. So
I can real talk to that, Kory.
Yeah. Whenever I go to Walmart, I see a couple of the Sawyer.
I might be living
like
next door to
Walmart
him.
in America.
It's got leather. I got Leatherface on a hover round right now in my head. That's what we need. Netflix. Next one. I want like Walmart Leatherface. He's at that age. Come on.
He could be the greeter.
Or he can just like go along in that and carve up some sodies, just catch it in his mouth. It'll be awesome.
His instead of a leather face, it's like just the roll it back face. It's a smiley face, but in like maybe human skin. I don't know.
There you go.
They walked into Walmart. That it's like the narration on that summer night, and they never came back.
He just flips out because they don't have his steelbook and electronics, and that's when he starts spinning and just.
The most macabre sales in retail history.
Just cuts the end cap straight.
They were bested by Target, Best Buy, and Amazon. He never felt the same again.
I got here on a Tuesday afternoon. Where's the goddamn 4K Walmart? Damn it.
How great is it, by the way, that opening narration tells you how the movie's going to end, and we don't care.
Yeah. That doesn't always work.
No.
It doesn't usually work, in fact.
I just want to say I love Jake's hair. And Jay had something similar going on.
Brad packed tonight.
You guys didn't know I had hair this whole time. I was just fronting. It was a bald cap the whole time.
So when's Offspring going out on tour?
Pretty soon, I guess.
And that one was a dud.
You've got a Spider-Man
White.
vibe going right now.
Any final thoughts on the first film? Is this everybody's favorite?
Drew just dropped out.
It is my favorite by far. I don't think it's even close.
I do believe that this is the best movie in the whole franchise.
I agree.
It might be my favorite, but Jessica Biel's ass and Alexandra Daddario's titties are
Let's not jump too far ahead. We'll get there.
It's the best movie for me, like by far, but it's not my favorite.
Okay. We'll talk more as it goes on, but I lean in that route.
I didn't actually see it until I was probably 16. I was at a girl's house. She wanted me to watch it, and it blew me away, man. Like really. And I'd seen some of the sequels, at that point, and yeah,
Okay.
that's just how powerful the movie is,
Yeah, anybody it was the first one I saw, but I imagine there probably are a lot of people that saw like the remake first in the chat.
Yeah, it's possible.
This was the first one I saw.
Nice.
No, this ain't the first one I saw.
I watched all of these in order.
Yeah, that's good.
Order of
I
release,
didn't have a choice but to watch these in order.
All right.
We ready to
That's
move on?
To two, I have a question to pose to you guys once we get deeper into the discussion.
Okay.
Cool.
This
fits.
Alrighty. So this
Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
This is the one where I've got at least it's a funny story to me. So my current wife and I had just started dating, and I had gone up to a local Suncoast and actually picked this up. I was really excited to watch it because of my experience with the first one. So I go home and I put it in, and my wife shows up, well, girlfriend at the time, shows up, and she's not in the mood to watch this. She's in the mood to do other things. So, all right, fine. So I stopped the movie and I'm spending time with her. And she ends up going home or whatever. And at this point, I'm not in the mood to sit down and watch the movie. So I try it again a couple of days later. Same thing happens. This goes on 4 times. So finally, one day, my girlfriend calls me up and tells me she's going out of town with her mom or something. Like, all right, fine. It's like, great. Now I can sit down and watch this movie. So this movie is built up in my head over whatever the time frame is of this, because every time I went to watch it, she would interrupt me. So I finally sit down and watch it, and it's nowhere near as good as I thought it was going to be. And I hated this movie for years. I finally sat down to watch it, getting ready for this show. And you know what? After about 20 years, it's not so bad. So I don't hate this movie anymore. It's a fun movie. Not as fun as some of the other ones later on, but I enjoyed this one a lot more on a couple of, or a rewatch many years later. But yeah, that's it. That's my funny story. My wife, girlfriend at the time, kept interrupting me watching this so she could have sex.
There you go.
Priorities.
Yeah.
But you rewatched it since this past.
Yes, I have rewatched it since.
Without interruptions.
But I hated that movie for years because of it. I had it so built up in my head that it was supposed to be it's going to be just as good as the first one. And there had to be a reason why I could not sit down and watch this movie. And that had to be it. So
for what it's worth, it gets me going too. So
I have a similar story on this one.
Do you want
to
go ahead? Spit it
yeah.
out.
So I did see them in order. I wasn't around in 74, but I did end up watching them in order. And with Texas Chainsaw, my opinion has never changed to that. I'm more in love with it now than I was way back in the day when I saw it. So when it came time for 2, needless to say, I was pretty pumped. And the first time I watched 2, I thought it was a piece of shit, which is weird as a kid because now there is a big turnaround on this movie, obviously, but I didn't get it. I just felt like this is a sequel to the scariest horror film of all time. and this is what they do. It felt like a Looney Tunes cartoon. I didn't get it, and I had an intense hatred for this movie back in the day. And I just didn't, and again at that time too, I didn't really see the humor in the original, which is there. Obviously, this is going way out there though in terms of the tone. I mean, that wasn't this kind of humor, but nonetheless, it took me a very long time to watch 2 again and kind of fall in love with it for what it is. Now it's strange because there's a big jump, 74 to 1986. I mean, it's strange because the original predates the slasher boom, and then we get a sequel when slashers, at least the golden era, had started to die out 2 years before. A lot of the slasher films certainly we were getting at that point were more cheesy and, not necessarily, some of them actually hold up even better, but nonetheless, it was a very different time. I wonder what a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 would have looked like in 75, 76. That's always been fascinating to me because 12 years, this franchise might have gone a very different direction. And yes, Sean, Dennis Hopper is always compelling to watch and awesome. As it stands, this one is just a good time. It's a really fun film. It's not what I would have certainly done in a follow-up to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but 86, we're coming off Return of the Living Dead, and horror comedies we're in, and it's the film that maybe it needed to be, I suppose. But
you were talking, what if they did it in the 70s? They weren't really doing these sequels in the 70s.
They weren't, and that was the thing. Like I said, predated the slasher boom, and by the time the sequel, slashers were on the decline. So it's a very odd franchise, I think, for that reason. And it gets a lot more odd as we go on. But so I fell in love with 2, but it took many years.
All right.
I guess I'll go. I fucking love this movie. I've always loved this movie. This is the first one that I've seen. This has the best cast of characters out of this whole franchise. But like to what Dana was saying, like I think this is how you do a Texas Chainsaw sequel, because there's no way you're topping the first one or coming close. So just bat shit off the walls, something like that. And the gap, like Sean said in the chat, which was part of Hooper didn't want to do it, but that's how he got that Canon deal that really didn't amount to shit, because movies that make money. But yeah, I love this movie. It's my favorite.
Well, you got Drayton back, so you got some cast member from the original. That really does tie the thing together.
It does, and it's like a good time, dude. Like a lot of humor. Dennis Hopper's fucking awesome, and I always loved the scene, even as a kid, fascinating. Him going into the chainsaw store, and he's like in the fucking chainsaw store, like holding up the chainsaws and trying them out, and just like doesn't say a word. And puts
that is a great scene.
Yeah.
That is just a great scene.
So, but yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Prom Night 2 is the GOAT of that franchise.
It is.
Yeah.
I agree. Who else on the Texas Chainsaw 2 thoughts?
I think it's fine.
Sir.
I mean, I like the first half of the movie much better than the second half. All the craziness going on in the first half. But I'll just stick with, I think it's fine. I've only watched it probably a couple times, and I just haven't revisited it much because I wasn't a huge fan, but I may give it a shot again at some point. It's been a few years. So.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised.
I have sorry, I was having some connection issues. But I have a similar story to like Dan and Kory. When I saw this movie, I was little, but I was so in love with the first movie, and I was amped to see this movie. I was just like, I can't wait to see more of this, and I was fucking mad. I hated it. I hated it up until like 2016 when I rewatched it finally. then I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. It's pretty fun. And I mean, I could talk about how fun it is all day. Like, Bill Moseley is awesome, and the music is great. I love the music, and Dennis Hopper is unhinged and hilarious. Caroline Williams is lovely, and it's a fun movie. I did hate it as a kid, though. I was fucking pissed.
Yeah, it's weird. Most people seem to like love this one as a kid because it is more. What's up, Jonathan?
Ha!
Full house tonight.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and Carolyn Williams we should put over. Great performance,
Yeah.
but no. Did anybody get to see it in the theater when it came out?
Yes.
What was that like for you, Lauren? Because you would have had a little bit of time in between to really experience this.
Well,
your expectations going in.
Well, it was only a couple of years after I saw the original.
Okay.
You got to remember, I was. Oh, there's a thing happening in it.
Sally!
It was an unrated film, and I was not 18. So already there was a deck stacked against me. So I actually went to try and buy a ticket at the 7:00 show. They wouldn't let me in. So I stood out in the pouring rain for 2 hours, and they felt so bad they let me into the 9. So at that point, I was so invested. This movie better be goddamn great that I had a ball that night. To be honest with you, it's kind of funny. I've cooled on it a lot, partially because, unfortunately, and I'm going to just bash Rob Zombie for a second here, but he kind of has spent his career aping the style of this movie.
And
it's watered down Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 as a result. Like, everything that made it so special and unique is not really that special nor unique, including just borrowing the cast, and that shouldn't hurt the film, right? If we're being fair about it. Tobe Hooper still made something visionary in its own way. But as a viewer, it makes me go back and visit it a lot less often. And when the big moments, the opening chop shop scene in the record store, what I used to feel about that now feels very familiar, maybe overdone.
But can I just say, like, can you imagine how wild it would be if Rob Zombie ever got Dennis Hopper in one of his movies?
You see, but that's what I don't like about Rob Zombie is that he always will go for the wildest variation of whatever he gets his hands on, and that gets just tiring and boring to me. I'd love to see Rob Zombie sit down and make a really mature film. That would be great because I think he does have it in him. Yeah.
I think Lords of Salem is a good representation of that. I think that's his most pulled-back film.
In ways, but it's just like he's turning his attention to try and be Kubrickian, and it's still aping someone else. I'd love to see, and maybe House of 1,000 Corpses in its own Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 derivative way is what Rob Zombie's always been wanting to do, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's the stamp. But it is a really fun movie. It deserves to probably be higher on a list than anything that comes after it. There is one that I like more. Actually, there might be two that I like more, but it is definitely on the good side of the ledger for this franchise, and pretty high on the good side of the ledger.
Definitely.
I don't know why with you, Lorna, but I'm slightly surprised, and I'm really curious to hear what other sequels or remakes that you think are better than that, even. So, nice.
I think things are going to get ugly after 2. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Get ugly real soon, I promise you.
Well, before they get ugly, Jonathan, you got any thoughts on the first 2 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies?
Oh yeah. Let me take y'all on a little ride here, real quick.
Okay.
The year was 1999. 9-year-old Jonathan had anxiety issues and OCD, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre threw him into full-blown panic. I was so fucking scared of that movie that I'd watch it in pieces, right? IFC used to run it like every night, I swear, at like 3 a.m. So I'd be just scared to death. Couldn't sleep because I knew it was coming on and I knew I kind of wanted to watch it. So over a month, I watched this fucking movie. And I conquered that fear, right? That because everybody thought it was real at one point in your life. I don't care what you say. At some point, it was a little terrifying, or that it actually happened. So, yeah, I get to talk about that in therapy sometimes. And part 2 isn't that fun. It's actually kind of a sad story. I saw it for the first time junior prom. After I dropped my prom date off, I went and bought the DVD and watched it, and that's how I ended my prom night. So
That is the most depressing thing that'll be said this evening.
it is, but I mean, it's the truth. Like, it sticks out.
That's a nice contrast to Kory's story.
Yes.
In case you missed my story, Jonathan, my current wife and I had just started dating, and basically every time I tried to watch this, she would show up at my house, and we'd end up having sex instead.
Yeah, that was complete opposite of the way my thing went. I was like, well, I don't have anything else to do tonight. Let's watch Texas Chainsaw 2.
You get him, Leatherface.
Memorable night nonetheless.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not all bad.
Well, I thought it was
that full.
I thought it was a solid. Who did we lose?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Drew.
Andrew. He's got a bad connection at the moment. Solid. Rented it on VHS. At the time, I liked it better than the first movie. I know. But I do recognize it went too far, even as a kid. Because I'm checking this movie out now, and it's like, what the hell? Where'd they go? This is.
It is a shock, man. But that's something we could say about almost every entry to the next. Like, it's completely just.
It is.
It is completely different. And
while it's wild and out there, it was more gory. So I think
I enjoyed that part.
I liked that part. Yeah, the Tom
I love
Savini
Stretch.
blood spurts, and Stretch is great. I think she's possibly my favorite. You guys are gonna hate me. My favorite final girl of this series.
No, I mean, I agree with that.
See, I hated her the most when I first watched it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you're fired.
I don't hate her now. I just the first time I actually was able to sit down and watch it, I didn't like her at all.
There's not as much 2 is better than 1 talk that I thought we would maybe have.
Well, I was just
that
gonna say that's really what happened when I first watched it, and it's grown on me even more over time. So I love both 1 and 2 in different ways, and so in a lot of ways they're equal.
I say a lot of stupid shit sometimes, like Halloween 4 is better than Halloween. But
I agree.
Yeah, but not enough to say that 2 is better than 1, but I do prefer 2. So.
I do think that wanting to make a commentary about Reagan's America and the small businesses getting it in the rear and all that's mixed in the film, it's a brave idea. It just doesn't work. So it's like you can see Hooper is kind of all over the place in his best cocaine-fueled way. It just doesn't quite work the way single-mindedly the first film goes for a thing and just seals the deal.
Yeah.
For me.
I do love Toby Hooper canon era, though. Like, say what you will about those films, they are entertaining.
They are. And really, that's what I want out of most movies.
I'm a big Life Force guy.
Entertain the
You
fuck
know
out
what,
of me
man?
here.
Sometimes it don't get no better than Life Force. That's exactly what the doctor ordered sometimes.
Matilda May. Nothing gets better than that.
Dude, I remember walking in like the living
Chris.
room to like my dad and my uncle watching that like in the 90s, and I was like, this chick is naked all the time. We could just kind of walk through. So I'd I'd make an excuse to walk through the living room, right? Like,
oh, I forgot
my pencil. I gotta do my homework.
Forgot my eraser.
I'm just gonna,
silly me, I broke the pencil. Where's the sharp?
And kids aren't subtle, man. You're just completely broke neck, just walking.
Who haven't we heard on Texas 2, Jay or Kory?
Yeah, someone said in the chat earlier that Hooper didn't really want to make this. It was part of that canon deal you guys are talking about, and I can, I appreciate this film for what it does and what it tries to go completely different than the original film. A completely different direction. Tonally, it just doesn't work for me. I like the idea of this movie more than I like the movie itself. But Bill Moseley's great. Chop Chop's awesome. Dennis Hopper on cocaine is fun. But yeah, it just doesn't work for me. But I can understand why you guys like it so much.
Okay. Well, that kind of also gives me hope for the next one. Some of you, if
Wait,
you
I'm not done.
say
Wait,
this
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
work,
Wait,
I'm not going on to the next one, Orc. Don't worry.
Okay,
Everybody's.
sorry,
I know there's.
Yo, asshole. I ain't fucking.
I was just, telling Jay. He didn't. Sounds like he didn't even really care for it too much. So, Orc.
1 is like pizza. 2 is like ice cream. And I fucking love ice cream. But you can't beat pizza. You know what I'm saying?
He worked on that all day.
Well done.
But honestly,
That should
that's
be
a
on the
fantastic
box.
analogy.
On the poster.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
pretty much it.
But you're going to finish that with I'm lactose intolerant.
I kind of am, yeah.
That is just the
No way to
clip.
top that
There's
for
a
the
new
show. It's over.
That's eclipse. There's a new face in horror. Like that needs to be on every poster. Or
Run the credits. We're done.
All right. Have we, Jake? We get to you.
I think he's good.
Yeah. Just we're trying not to just go around in a circle. I'm throwing it up, speak up. That way we get more banter going. And then if you see an open space and you didn't get everything and you want to speak away, guys. But any last thoughts on Texas Chainsaw 2 before we move on?
it's fun.
Fun. All right, then. Yes, I have been.
Here we go.
I'm very excited about this. Here we go. I'm going first.
Go ahead.
No, you're not.
I am.
There's a great commentary.
It's your show.
There's a great commentary, and it's on Jay the Stingray's channel, and we all did it on this film.
He's right.
This is the Horror Rumble. Don't anybody be a pussy, okay? If you got something to say it.
Fucking say it. There you go, Jonathan.
I didn't come here for I can really get, I could see what you're saying there about.
Okay,
I'm coming around your way.
Actually,
Jonathan, do you really think that's what's coming?
Well, I could see that. Yeah.
All right, fuck you then.
Warren's about to eviscerate every fucking movie going forward, just to let you guys know.
Not all of them, but this one.
This was my favorite Texas Chainsaw for the longest time. This is the movie I wanted as a kid, and when it came out in 90.
This is part of your AA speech, though.
What disease did you have that they fixed?
Oh, dude, it was.
I don't
it was
get
just
it
what I
either.
wanted. It was dark, gritty slasher in that sense. It was the slasher one. It was the slasher.
It is.
one.
I'll give you that. It is the slasher one. Doesn't make it the good one.
It's New Line Cinema taking something beautiful and unique and trying to make it a cookie cutter.
Just
and
completely not
it
understanding
eats
the
slasher
approach.
sweepstakes. Everything the original film stands for. This is a piece of crap that should not exist.
Was there a lot of
Everything I
studio interference in this?
It was all stupid.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay.
I think Jeff Bird
That-
quit a couple of times.
Yeah.
He did.
No, he was fired.
Yeah, he got
Yeah,
fired.
and like nobody would touch the fucking movie. Like even beforehand, nobody would touch it.
You had a lot of cuts on this, so being fair, like you are seeing a butchered movie. First, I'll say something nice first. The teaser trailer to this is awesome.
Yes.
The whole chainsaw thing, that's really cool. And Kate Hodge, She-Wolf of London, I love her. She's always amazing. But this movie's a piece of shit. And I I used to say, oh, it's just average. Watching it again recently for a show we did on this months ago, Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, it's not good at all.
It is.
It
Don't
has
listen to him. It is.
Can I ask a question real quick?
I don't
Is this
get
I don't know
liking
what the
it.
question is, motherfucker.
Hang on now. Easy.
You said you
Easy.
wanted strong.
Easy. If I wanted to listen to Disturbed, I'd listen to it on my iPod. I wouldn't hear it coming from up here. Darren Drain, whatever the fuck his name is, looking motherfucker. Anyways,
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is this freeform or do we have to go one at a time?
No, that's what I was saying
Sure.
earlier.
Yeah,
Let's go.
man.
Take it away, brother.
Okay.
Shut me
Go
down
on
if you're wrong.
This
Don't
is
worry.
freeform.
Okay.
There's
No,
some
what I was gonna
amusing
say was
moments, but
comparatively, when you take it comparatively to like some of the shit that comes later in the series,
Yes.
it's stronger.
No,
No.
Yes.
no.
Yes.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
this is close
Or
to the very
It's a
bottom.
dull.
Here's my thing.
generic-
I will watch Texas Chainsaw 3 any day over Return and Leatherface. For
Hell
sure.
no. Hell no.
No.
No,
We'll
like,
get there.
I,
I'm
I,
ready.
I,
Well,
I do love
Return
this
is
movie,
hot garbage.
I'll watch
If
this
there was
movie
no-
over anything after it.
but it is dead last. This
At
movie is
least
dead
Return
last.
wanted to do something. This film
it
just
is not
wanted to
dead
be
last.
the next Michael
It's
Myers.
dead
Jason
last, man,
Voorhees,
by
How
far.
the
Freddy
fuck
Krueger.
is Leatherface better than this?
It's
Well,
way
it's not.
better for like 75,000 reasons, and I'll
no.
be sure to list them later. by the way.
No.
I'm right there with you.
It's got
I'm not
better
defending
gore.
that.
It's got much better gore. It's better than the
Leatherface
gore
isn't
that was
even
cut
really a
from this
Texas
movie.
Chainsaw Massacre
No.
movie.
Well, I'll say that for Leatherface talk.
Wait,
Okay.
which one is the return?
The next
This-
one.
Or
Next generation.
Yeah.
The next
Oh,
generation.
next generation. Okay, gotcha.
well,
Yeah, it used to be called The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah, it played on like 3 screens under its original title, and then they pulled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not the worst Texas Chainsaw. I'm just saying, I hear a lot of people like this was my favorite Texas Chainsaw, and that's got to be nothing more than nostalgia, because this is a very
I get
on
why
a
people
good
like
day
it.
it's average.
Like
And
I
could be
was
nice,
I was
but-
happy with this movie when I saw it after having watched 2 as a kid. I was
Yeah.
happy that it was, not stupid again. But I mean it has aged to be my least favorite. And I do love it regardless. I do. I love Ken Furry. I love Laz Rocket's fucking badass song in the movie.
I like
Oh.
Kate Hodge.
I love
but it's
Viggo
not a good movie.
Mortensen because he's a Lord of the Rings alumni, and so I worship him in any movie he's in.
This is your
but
least favorite in the entire franchise?
by a country mile for sure. It's got the least
Mine
entertainment
too.
value.
So,
for me.
so I can understand that for very different reasons, though, because I think it's the biggest betrayal of what Texas Chainsaw Massacre should be. Like,
Oh.
Leatherface is a worse film, but at least it wasn't just trying to fit a mold of everything else going on at a time. This is the laziest piece of crap out there, and what's crazy about that is that
Yeah.
David J. Chow wrote the screenplay originally, which they just butchered the shit out of,
You
and
beat
that
me
man
to
is
it.
crazy talented.
My
And if
one of my
And
all
shows back up again in the series and does a decent job.
Oh,
Right.
I like Alfredo. I think he's pretty funny.
Read the Shaft and
I like pasta too.
Killing Riff. David J. Scow is an icon. I love David J. Scow.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing his name attached to this though, but as you can tell, what you write's not what makes it on screen.
I've liked things he's been a part of, but he made some comment on the commentary of this one that made me think he was a douche. I'll leave it at that.
He's a cool guy. I like David Scow. I want to invite him on a show sometime. I love David.
Invite him on. We'll have
I
a
didn't
talk.
hear back from him, so
Well, now that you called him a douche, Jess, god damn.
Well, he didn't even get back with Lauren, so he is a douche.
No, he's actually a guy who works. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And then,
Killing
like,
Riff
a
and
hack.
the Shaft.
Are-
Read those. They're really good.
are we gonna gloss over the rape child that Leatherface has in the movie?
It's implied, but I feel like that's never really truly just out there in the movie.
Oh, if it's more than implied.
I think Rape Child is my new DJ name.
Rape child dropping beats.
Might be hard to get
Even
gigs.
that though is like that could be a really disturbing thing if it wasn't 2 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
This movie's
Well,
way
well,
too
You
timid
know,
about
the tone for
everything.
this movie, that it wasn't right for the tone of this movie.
Nah, I'm
If
cool
you're
with
go-
it.
if you're no,
Go
what I'm saying is you're
No, I
going
thought it was
there.
fine.
If you're going there, let's go more in line with the first movie.
Yeah.
This is nothing. There's nothing that really works about this one. They
Alfredo does.
wanted a horror icon that they thought they'd get a franchise out of, and so they deballed Leatherface and turned him into just what everything else was at the time. It's a dull film. It doesn't work. And they try to do the body pit from Poltergeist again, like as a tribute to Hooper, I think, and it's lame. That sucks.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few amusing moments, but beyond that, I just don't get it with this one. Yeah, Ken Forehe's good, but even his character doesn't really have a.
Is Ken Foree never good in something though?
He's good.
Yeah,
and
he's
it's
always
badass, and he's
Yeah,
kinda
he's
saves
got that
the
memorable
day.
line in the movie. You guys ever heard of pizza?
I don't know. This one for me, it probably got off my irrational hate for 2 when I was a little kid. Probably made me a little less harsh on this, but the last few times I've revisited this one, I'm like, you know what? I love Kate Hodge a lot. Maybe that's part of it, but it's really not very good at all. It's near the bottom. There is
It's
a
the
couple
top
things.
3. 1, 2, and 3 are all equal in different ways.
It's
to
in
me.
the bottom 3.
And they do the annoying, like, over-empowered final girl thing at the end of this thing too. Oh, give her the tough Arnold line. There's roadkill all over Texas. Come on, this is totally a nightmare, and not in the good way.
You got a problem with strong, empowered women?
If they're written badly, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I love it.
I do
It's the
have a
last
couple
one
of
that really-
questions.
sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I was just saying it's the last one that really ties even slightly to some continuity. I'm sparking a debate, but go ahead, Kory.
So this was one of the ones that I saw for the first time while watching all of these. First question that comes to mind is, where the hell did this family come from?
I can answer that.
Okay. Is your answer going to be like actual canon here, or is it just
It is
what
canon.
you think? Okay.
It's going
it's
to
here.
be like him trying to fucking tie in Halloween 3 with whatever. Like, no fucking.
It is.
sense.
It is. Hear me out. Okay. So this is obviously Leatherface's family. It's Mama's family. You know, he's been off living with his brothers, but now that his brothers are dead, he goes back to Mama's family.
That's not a real fucking thing. That's not a thing. You just fucking made that up.
I used to watch. Hold on. I used to watch Mama's Family just before WCW on Saturday nights, and
Stretches
Leatherface
in
was
this
never
movie.
in that.
I was gonna say, was it Vicki Lawrence? Was his mom?
No, that's not real, Jess. We're not.
Oh, come on. Do you really need a full explanation in the beginning? John Larroquette saying, oh, he went back to Mama's family. And she lives in the woods on the other side of Texas.
I don't know. There's another
Mama
movie.
said-
There's another movie coming up that doesn't explain where the fuck the bitch he lives with came from anyway, and I like that one. So,
see,
Okay.
See,
Second question, not nearly as controversial. How many windows did they break in this franchise jumping through?
More than Bill Gates.
I mean,
Yeah, boy. Okay, sorry.
Orc is winning the night.
there's a lot. It's an inbred family.
it was
DJ Rachel.
There's just something
DJ
that I
break,
had noticed
cha,
when
cha,
I
cha,
was
cha.
watching it. It was just something that I noticed when I was watching it. It was like in this, the first 3 movies, they jumped through a window at least once. And it's just something that continues on. I think everyone except for the last one they did. So
I don't know, man. When you're tied up and somebody's planning on eating you, you probably go out a fucking window too.
well, I'm
man.
sure I would too, but
I'm just saying it's probably a logical thing. Just in this situation, that's why there's so much of it.
Oh God, I really don't want to get to the Jessica Biel movie with him.
Oh. Well, this one was divided,
Not
oh, and
divided. You're the
I
only
didn't
one.
hate this one. So
Well, thank you.
I don't
felt
get-
alone there.
I'm fine with somebody liking it. I just don't get like that extreme praise at all for this one. I just don't see what the diehards see in it, I guess.
Okay.
I don't.
I enjoy it. I recognize it's not a very good film, but I do
Yeah,
enjoy
I could
watching
probably
it.
I could close it on that. I enjoy it, but it's not a very good film.
The teaser trailer is way better than the whole fucking movie.
Nobody's gonna argue that
It's a
with you,
good
man.
teaser trailer, but I'm gonna argue that.
I think it depends on how much and what your experience with the first film really was, how much you dislike this movie. But I think if the original is very sacred to you, this thing's a pretty big betrayal, and it's a pretty big. It's not even a step down; it's a free fall off a cliff.
It is, but we're gonna fall harder here in a minute.
Okay. Last thoughts before we move on. TCM3 Leatherface.
The Saw is family,
The Saw is family, and they gotta love it.
Following part 2, that's a tough follow. I mean, following 1 is hard, but following 2, I mean, it's like, what are you
going to do after
do
that?
Go? Exactly. Yeah.
And I think this did the best it could at the time. It's 1990.
Or they could have just filmed the David Shaw screenplay without screwing with it and end up with a good movie.
Now, I won't argue with you on that. I could have been up for that at the time too. I think
I don't see
really
how.
Good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it may have still had its issues, but if they did that, once again, I'll say I'd be curious. I mean, we're at 1990 at this point, so I'm not necessarily saying it was going to have like a huge boom, but I don't think we would have got what's coming next for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I love this one.
Kip Henkel, what have you done to us?
It has grown on me. I hated this
favorites.
at first. I hated this so much at first.
I love this one.
I love
We
it.
want to go positive or negative first because I'm in the latter category.
Spit it out if you want.
You want me to go first? There's usually something good I can say about almost every film. Not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. I think this thing is a steaming pile of shit. From beginning to end, this one is the worst Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's not even close for me.
No.
I think the whole government conspiracy angle doesn't work at all.
I agree. It's stupid. That part's stupid.
A lot of people with this one, they're like, oh, yeah, but Matthew McConaughey, though. First off, he wasn't really Matthew McConaughey at this point anyways. And it's not I get maybe some camp value, but man, it's just an awful movie. Leatherface is more Franklin than Leatherface. I mean, he's horrible in this movie. He's not intimidating whatsoever.
I love it.
Man, I don't know. I don't get this one. I know there's a lot of people that love it, and I see particularly in the last decade or so, this seems to have more vocal fans.
I think it's grown on a lot of us over this last.
I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
people with diminished
Blu-ray.
I think there's just a lot of people out there
Maybe.
with the diminished fucking like brain capacity. Because
That's this guy right here.
No disrespect. This one, I hate everything about it. This is one of my least. I mean, I hate this. This is like a top 10 on the hate list. I think I don't get it.
Yeah,
I do not
the
get
stuff
it.
that you hate the most about it is probably the things that I do like about it. Like the government
No.
conspiracy, the maybe space aliens, that extra nipples. I'm down for all that.
Maybe that would have worked for
It has
somebody.
it has a
Yeah.
kind of, first of all, they were making a parody of the original film, and anyone who
Yeah,
doesn't
they are. They
that
are.
has a big
Yeah.
problem if they go into it as a real horror movie because it's not going to work. But
Sure.
But like the idea that it's like, how do we top the what the fuck? Oh my god, I'm not ready. Anything can happen. Attitude of the first film. Well, they just went as crazy as they can in the third act. It just takes forever to get to the third act, and you got to go through this boring, kind of awful retread of the first film to get there. I love the fact they replaced the truck from the first film with a fucking biplane. That's nuts. That's crazy. Do that. Make that
part was
movie
cool.
for me. But for most of the running time, it just is not willing to be crazy. It just is saying, "Oh, we're going to make the disturbing, sound of the flash photography into prom photos." Oh, that's cute. Whatever, But yeah, the crazy stuff in the last act, I'm down for. The rest of the movie, I think, is garbage. But I still think it has more of the spirit of the original than the third film. Which
this is the only movie I think in this franchise that is anything like the first one, as far as just honoring like the original intentions, and I think that's probably due to Kim Hinkle being behind the writing and the directing, for that matter. I understand why people don't like this movie. I wouldn't defend that people are supposed to like it or they're just wrong, but I like all the over-the-top characters. I love Barry. I think he's hilarious. His girlfriend is also hilarious. Matthew McConaughey is great. I love Renee Zellweger in it. I love Robbie Jacks. I think he's the only Leatherface that comes close to Gunnar Hansen. And yes, absolutely. He's the only interpretation that matches what Gunnar Hansen is doing. The only one. Everybody else is like a hulking like figure. I mean, and Bill Johnson's just silly. So I mean, he's the only one that matches the original.
I was afraid of Gunnar Hansen. I certainly didn't feel anything.
But being afraid of him doesn't not make him any less of the same like character. He's doing the same weird shit that Gunnar Hansen's character was doing in Leatherface and the original TCM. He's doing the various cross-dressing. He's acting different with his personality.
Yeah, but I think the acting is not the same.
No, not the acting, but I'm saying it's the same character.
The character, yeah.
I think because they're making a parody of the original, that's where it comes from. They're springboarding close to the original, but it's going left rather than right.
Yeah.
I can respect that as an idea. I just don't think it's on screen.
I get that it's supposed to be funny. I'm not watching this thinking that they were going for a serious horror film, but it's just not funny for me. I don't think I've ever laughed.
Yeah, that's the thing where it's like subjective. Like I think it's funny. Not everybody's thinking it's funny, but it also does have great music too. Like the second one, a lot of Texas local stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's people who defend Jerry Lewis too. So comedy being subjective only goes so far.
Mm-hmm. You know what disappoints me about this the most is that so many of the people I call my friends are idiots and enjoy this movie.
It's better than
Get him, Jay.
everything after 2003.
Put the band.
Okay, hold on. I want to pose a question here, okay? Because I like this movie, but my opinion on the movie itself is that you didn't need Leatherface in it. It doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie to me.
Does more than Leatherface 2017, but we'll get to that.
You know what I'll say to that is, aside from the remake and its prequel, I don't think any of these movies feel like each other at all. So whenever I watch like a TCM movie, I'm not looking to get a specific feeling out of them.
Hey.
Not like with a Friday movie.
But my question is if they would have completely left Leatherface out of this movie, would it have changed your opinion on it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I love Robbie Jack's performance, so I would like the movie less.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
To me, Matthew McConaughey makes this fucking movie.
Exactly.
I could see where his acting career was going. I thought Renee Zellweger was fucking awful. I can't believe she got a career after this movie.
Squinty
She's
bitch.
always awful, though. Yeah.
She's not even that attractive.
Squinty.
I don't think she's terrible in this, but I agree with you. Matthew McConaughey carries the whole thing, and I kind of agree with Lauren. You know, there's a lot that could be cut back in that first part of it, but I just have a fun time watching it every time I watch it. So,
Hell yeah, Kory. Hell yeah.
This is my second favorite in the fucking franchise. Fuck each and every one of you.
Wow.
Hey, I liked it.
I liked it, Jay. Calm down.
First number 3 for me. So
That's a preemptive fuck you for later.
And I'm not some bandwagon dude. I've loved this movie since I first saw it on VHS.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody prefer the lipstick chainsaw cover art? That's the one I prefer.
No, I prefer the one where he's on drag. That's the one I remember from the video store.
Oh,
That
one,
too.
yep.
And I know what you're talking about. I think it's a cooler poster, Jonathan.
I do too.
This is the one I'm used to, though, and the official for the next generation release.
Oh, I would definitely remember that one. I remember
It's.
I thought there was going to be something so fucking wild on that fucking tape.
Yeah,
That is pretty wild. I mean,
It is a pretty wild movie. I mean,
Not in the that shot didn't never happened.
Yeah.
like is he gonna kill you or fuck you? You know?
Yeah, I was very confused.
The answer is
I
both.
wanted this to feel like a John Waters film, and that's the biggest missed opportunity of this. Is that Divine as Leatherface couldn't happen by this point, but that was kind of the concept.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
John
would've
Waters
just said
directing a
Waters.
Texas Chainsaw movie sounds
That
awesome.
was
Leatherface eating a piece of dog shit. You almost could have had it.
I don't think Divine eats dog shit in every movie. So.
So, Jess, where's this family come from?
Well, as it says in the title, and I'm glad they retitled it, The Next Generation. Because if it was Return and you don't have the family returning, it wouldn't work. So this is an offshoot. It's the Slaughter. They're not Sawyers. They're the Slaughters. Though I think in part 1 on the side of the gas station, it said W.E. Slaughter. But that just could have meant like a slaughterhouse or like Slaughterport.
Somebody please, just for shits and giggles, make me a Leatherface family tree.
You know, for what it's worth, I actually think they're the Slaughter family in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Or not movie, game that's coming out.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
But
It's
to
coming out
explain
soon,
it,
right?
you don't
Or
have to.
that
It's Next Generation. It's a new
The
generation.
game got postponed, right?
Did it?
That's the only thing else I gotta say, and I think Lauren already said it. Was I really wish they'd explored the whole with the
Cut it off. I was like rapt to find out what comes next.
I was too.
spy ninjas. I wish they explored the whatever they was supposed to be with the fucking Hellraiser nipples guy, the Illuminati, I guess it was, or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd have been cool. But
Yeah, I mean, maybe there was an interesting idea there. I don't think it came together in this for me, but yeah.
This
That was
movie
cool.
should have ended with
And for what it's worth,
on the top of a volcano with the army shooting rockets towards them. This should have gone as crazy as it could because that's the way this movie was been saved. It's not really there.
for what it's worth, I know nobody else likes him but me, but this is the only other movie you get Paul Pertain.
Yeah. I don't have the Franklin hate like a lot of people do.
he's fine. I don't hate him like everybody else.
Yeah, he's a character.
I like
hate
when
him.
he's the hissy fit. And he's like,
Yeah. By the way, don't use that clip on YouTube.
Okay.
It is. So the Slaughter family will be the characters in the video game. So everybody's got the last name Slaughter.
It won't be Sawyer.
It will not be Sawyer.
Oh wow.
You see a release date on that?
2023 is all it says here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, look for that.
Man, the shit you guys put over sometimes, and the shit you crap all over is Dan will defend the dumbest shit known to man sometimes.
No, I get what you're saying. Dan's like, oh, it's a great film. If what? If you're fucking brain dead?
Look, we all have our own specific kind of stupid. This is not my
Sure.
kind of stupid. I don't know.
The only thing I'll say in support of Jay here is, you said that it's like a bad movie. I know you've seen real bad movies, Dan. This is not a bad movie.
See, Lauren's got a bad movie he's holding up.
I love unpopular.
So how would you rank it?
I love my crap.
At least anywhere close
This
to
is
the
my
top,
number
or is it on the
3.
bottom?
Only after the first one and one other we'll talk about later.
Yikes.
The worst one for me.
They gotta fix the public schools in this country.
it's
Yeah.
like middle of the road for me, probably.
Yeah, me too. It's probably number 4. I mean, this is the end of the original series. Not that it has anything to do with the others. But
They're
as
all
we
produced
said,
by
none of them
studios.
do. Yeah.
Do you guys think this thing would have ever seen the light of day if it wasn't for the two main actors?
Oh, it would have probably came out sooner, but would it have been even pushed as little as it was? No.
That initial 3-city release was cataclysmically bad. That they were going to bury this movie. I mean, there was actually talk that they felt that the franchise was dead because of this movie. It was not saleable. And then, of course, the two careers blew up, and the movie got dumped to video stores.
McConaughey tried to sue him, and
I still remember the DVD cover with both their faces and names on it.
Yeah.
That one didn't fucking last long.
You know what's funny is I
That's
literally
the DVD
just
I have.
before I jumped on here watched an interview he was doing or something where he was talking about this movie, McConaughey. And this comes straight from his mouth. He's the one that went back in to audition for the main killer role. So he's got no one to blame but himself for this. Originally,
I don't
he
think
had
he really runs from it. I think his
No.
people probably did that because I've heard him talk not unfavorably of it. It was a job.
Yeah, like I've only heard like decent things from him and Renee on this. It's like I think it's the people, like Jonathan said.
Hey, and thanks, Stu. Thanks very much.
maybe a little less fighting than our Monsters commentary, but the night's still young, Stu.
There's less fighting here than in the Monsters.
Yeah. Can I say something real quick, Dan?
Yeah.
Bro. Dan, I just want you to know that yesterday I spent a little time going through my 4K cases, and there's nothing close to those Child's Play cases, man. I don't know what the fuck Todd's talking about.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Like,
either.
there's some oil in the other ones, bro, but it's not even close, man. It's like the one of them looks like it was like splooged on in various places.
I have over 400 4Ks.
Yeah,
never fucking seen it.
Exactly.
I don't understand his argument whatsoever. I've probably started to go soft because I've never opened a new Blu-ray or 4K and seen like
it's like somebody stored bacon in it.
Yeah, bacon grease. I don't get it. Never saw it.
Fucking
oh, yeah, they're nasty looking.
Piz's stream, he shows it off, and I've seen even worse examples. Yeah, it's like over $100 for these 4Ks, and you give me that? No, sorry.
I mean,
but not to derail this.
You were buying Child's Play movies that you already own, so
Yeah, I didn't buy them. I was just going off of Piz's stream, and I'm glad I didn't buy them. It's ridiculous. And there's audio issues.
I will never buy another Scream Factory release, ever.
Except they just announced a Company of Wolves, which is a problem.
Yeah, and Space Truckers too.
Not at all for me. I love that movie.
I'm not boycotting them totally, but I don't feel much of a need in ordering from their website. I don't need posters.
I don't feel like getting fucked anymore, man.
Their history
And
doesn't
rewarding them
seem
for
good
it.
watching you guys' videos from Halloween to Friday the 13th to now Child's Play.
When you're releasing a statement, just wipe it. I'm sorry. Just wipe it. What do you want us to do?
That's their Nike slogan now. Just wipe it.
Yeah, just wipe.
You know, you guys would consider this a special feature if this had happened to the cruising disc.
There you go.
Hey, Jake, you want to know something? That doesn't work. That doesn't quite work for me, brother.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
Oh, yeah, brother.
You'll have to let us know, Stu.
Are you all family or something?
Unless you're getting it from Scream Factory.
Comments.
That's the thing. I don't think any of these are greasy discs unless it came directly from Scream Factory.
No. They're coming from everywhere.
I want to see some pictures.
Really? Okay. All right. I didn't realize.
Okay,
that.
their big thing is, well, hey, we didn't mess it up, and this is the argument because I've been posting everywhere that'll allow me to fucking post about it. The big argument all the fucking the Scream Factory simps give me is, well, that it's not a Scream Factory issue. It was an issue at the manufacturer of the case. All right, open the goddamn case before you send out thousands of them and make sure they're not
control. When Lexus breaks in that car, it wasn't them.
No.
It wasn't
again, that's how business works. If you're making a product, you are responsible for the end product.
If I saw this from 10 other companies or even one other company,
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it, and it's Scream Factory, who have had a lot of issues lately.
And I'm gonna go
not
out
lately
on a limb,
since the beginning.
and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we own more movies than the average person.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I am a nerd.
Possibly by one or two.
And that's what I.
Dan, don't be so hard on yourself, man. Come on.
You know, people want to act.
You own
like,
more porn.
They want to act like, oh,
No
we should be
smears, or-
thankful that they're even doing this. No, we shouldn't.
I don't get Todd's position I don't get it.
Have you seen a lazier fucking packaging for their big 4K releases than anything they've ever put out on 4K? Is that not the laziest, lamest shit?
I'm getting better at saying no.
It doesn't even have reversible artwork. Not that I really give a fuck, but you're charging more for these releases,
and that's it right there.
Yeah,
what they're trying to do is get you used to getting less for more, slowly. And no, fuck that, dude. Like, because you still have Screen Factory putting shit. I mean, not Screen Factory, but like Vinegar Syndrome. They can't ship anything. God help them. They can't do that. But what they can do is a fantastic fucking job on restoring these movies and giving us a value, at least for our money, of some kind.
Ditch the slip covers and don't spread your seed on my discs, and I'm good.
Well,
there you go.
Lauren said we want the movies and we want them.
Yeah.
I don't understand this idea that less people are buying movies, so the people who remain, let's gouge as much money out of them as we can.
Exactly.
That makes no sense from a business standpoint.
It really doesn't, because you're killing your market faster.
Yep. I like you are, because all these marks and simps are going to fucking buy any and everything. And 50 copies of them.
There's not enough marks and simps to keep it going.
I'm a mark, but I'm not.
They've got a diehard fan, but there could be a turd in that case when they open it up, and they'd still buy the next fucking release.
Well, I don't know. It's not their fault. It's not their turd. So,
All right. This week versus last year, week ending the 13th, which is the most recent numbers we have. Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K is down 13.2% year to date. That's actually pretty.
Rip the slip.
So, just realistically, if we don't get this, if they don't start giving us product at a reasonable price to the fans' expectations, it's gonna end. There's gonna be a point where you can't produce the product and make a profit, Mark. Then it's all going to be streaming.
Yeah,
I don't think it's avoidable at this point because they have the wrong attitude towards all this stuff.
Yeah.
These companies have taken a position that I have never fucking seen before. And they're starting to believe that shit they're seeing in the comments going, you should be so lucky that I would put this out for you. They're taking that stance.
And again, this is not like happening to other labels,
No.
So that for me, it's like, I don't quite get this. Nobody can deny.
How do you misspell the title of a movie?
Coin figuration. Yeah.
How do you not fucking look at that?
No quality control.
Quality control.
Anymore. Yeah. Just no quality control. I think it's going to keep happening. If they get that Nightmare on Elm Street box set,
they'll fuck it up royally.
Don't buy it right away because they're gonna need at least one replacement.
But it's gonna be super fucking limited. You remember hearing about that? You can't find this shit nowhere else now. If you look, that Friday the 13th set was supposed to be 13,000 copies limited.
Yeah, bullshit.
You can still find it. You can still find it in the store
on sale. Perpetual sale forever.
I love Screen Factory. They sent me some lube, so the next time they fuck me.
They should. There you go. Now that's something they could do to also make
is this
up.
a new deal? Fuck, I'm gonna order from them now.
That's what's in the child's play places. Fucking lube up your asshole.
Fuck yeah. Ade, do fuck me in the ass, Dembele.
Okay, now that brings me to, before we move on to the next thing, I just want to bitch about one other thing because I have to go here in a little bit. That brings me to this shit that's getting ready to happen with this Satan's Little Helper Blu-ray, which I'm day one. Satan's Little Helper Blu-ray. I fucking love that movie.
On Amazon.
On Amazon, $20. All right, I can live with that for that
Fair
movie.
enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm good with that. But they're selling a slip cover separately.
$10 more, right?
Like all of a sudden, now we're doing this thing where shit that just used to fucking come with it, we're going to charge for. So today it's a slip cover. Tomorrow it's like you can either get it in a plastic like jewel case or you can have a Blu-ray case with artwork.
One down.
I don't care about the slip. Like, I mean, you
I'm
want to
not gonna
charge
buy
me
the
more
slip.
for a slip, then that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're doing like, and like, oh, if you want the fucking little card information card on the inside of it, that one's gonna be $3 extra. Like they're
It's a la carte.
breaking this down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Blank case.
Well,
Yeah.
like when they recognized a market existed that was so concerned about this
Yep.
stupid piece of cardboard with printing on it.
Yep.
I mean,
What exactly is the purpose of a slipcase?
It makes sense on a book.
Exactly.
I thought
it just carried over, man. It looked nice. It was a presentable way to try to sell somebody a $40 or $50 piece of fucking merchandise that they weren't accustomed to getting.
In the early days of DVD, I never thought unless there was something different, like it was 3D art or something. The art was just different. I got rid of them because if you have slipcovers on everything, that's less room on your shelves. Like,
That's true too.
You get a couple more in there if you have a whole row of DVDs. So I never thought twice about discarding them back in the day.
I thought it was to prevent theft. That's what I thought it was about. Like in the story, people popping it open, stealing the disc.
It'd make it harder, but it's not too difficult to just,
Sure.
if you're gonna steal.
So it's to protect this plastic case that no one gives a shit about.
Basically.
Not if you want to just watch the movie.
Yeah.
Take care of my disc.
What's really disturbing is that you'll find like the movies that premiere for $10 on DVD in the Walmart, and that's the market they've chosen out, and they have slipcovers. So any idea that you should be paying more for this is insane.
Yeah. No, it's weird. It wasn't a thing unless it just went over my head. But in the early days of collecting DVDs in the late 90s into the 2000s, I don't ever remember that. I gave away some of the original Scream Factory slips to my friend Chris McGibbon.
And
I just didn't think,
They are the reason for this too. Now that we're talking about it, Scream Factory did this because this whole slipcover thing didn't happen till they started not releasing them with their catalog releases.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw.
No, I love it. I
Does
love
nobody
Jake,
want
you
to
got
talk
any
about?
more Doritos or what?
No, I just like the whole body, bro.
Fuck yeah.
Does nobody want to talk about the second best horror remake? I mean, of that whole remake boom?
it. It is second best.
Second best behind Hills Have Eyes.
Greatest horror remake of all time, better than The Thing.
It is a great effing remake. I will give it that. I can't. There we go.
Jessica Yum Yums.
I wish they wouldn't let her wear a bra in that though.
It kind of has the opposite problem of the last film because the final act of this one actually is the least interesting part of it.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Once they get to the slaughterhouse, it's kind of like whatever. But everything up to that is pretty good. Yeah. And I think we all had a night out for this film before we saw it, right? Like we all wanted to hate this thing, and then we saw the movie.
Well, yeah, no, the weird thing about this one, I was Texas Chainsaw Massacred out after the previous film, so I was kind of like, oh man, I don't really need to see any of these. I was actually surprised because there was a lot of hate back then, and when I saw it, I was like, you know what, this was actually pretty damn good. I mean, at that point, you could make a really strong case that it's better than, well, definitely better than the previous two, I think by far. And it actually is kind of going for the fear again. And they do a pretty good job. It's not the original, but for that era where we had some really wretched remakes,
Yes.
well, mostly after that.
It is
but
bar none the best remake.
You know what I always will love.
Hills
in this
Have
movie?
Eyes.
No.
Hills Have Eyes is the best.
Hills Have
remake.
Eyes is a great remake
But you
as well.
know
but
what
I
I will
can't
always
It's a great remake.
I said the original material as the dead. I know you guys
Yeah.
weren't hearing it, but yeah,
Hills is better than the original by far.
yeah.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. It's better.
Is
than
that
the
what you're
original.
saying? It's better than the original, so that's why.
No. Hills Have Eyes. The remake
Right.
is better than the
Right.
original Hills Have Eyes.
Well, I think
Okay.
we all probably agree with that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So that's
Yeah.
probably why you can make the consensus that that's the best horror.
Well,
remake.
I mean, The Thing,
Of
The
that
Blob, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Well, I'm saying of that era. Like,
Okay,
you're
yeah.
starting
Night
getting
of Living
those
Dead.
late
That era.
70s, early 80s
90s.
remakes.
Invasion of Body Snatchers is probably the best remake ever.
Yeah, strong case for that. But yeah, but of that 2000s wave, I don't think it's even close. Hills Have Eyes. This I think is actually really good. I think Arlie Ermy kind of owns these movies. He is just fantastic.
Fantastic in these movies. Him and his eyebrows.
Absolutely. And all of the side characters, the tea lady, everybody kind of hits a home run.
They did something with this movie that all of them except the second one did, is they introduced completely new characters and they were interesting and they had depth to them, and it focused on the family more so than just Leatherface.
Oh, absolutely. And
my
they
favorite
added
thing,
the
though,
gore
from this remake by far is the suicide kill shot. That shit is fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, and some of the Arlie Ermy has some like scuzzy lines in this movie. Not to repeat them all, but yeah, no, this had a lot going for it, and if he wasn't just so despicable, it might have gone down a few notches. But I had, look, it's nowhere near the original, but rewatching it, man, I mean, I think it's actually a really good movie. The hate for this one, I think, was irrational overall.
Well, I think a lot of hate too is this is the movie that started that trend. In that era. So
yeah, and
I didn't think it got a lot of hate, honestly, at the time. Except from now Chris.
I remember when it was a hot take that you liked the movie.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was like that.
I mean, most people
years.
like it now. I mean, most people
love
it.
I mean, the consciousness is shifted to, I'd say there's more positive. There are people saying positive things about the movie. There's negative, but no, I remember for years this movie was shit on.
Oh yeah, for a long time.
People, because then also that was where they'd start using those filters to make it look really dingy and washed out, and that was a whole fucking film style for like a decade, was just these washed out browns and tans and shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, dude.
Oh no, go for it.
I was just saying, the only thing I hate about this movie is the director, because I hate the fucking shaky cam shit. Yeah, he did Friday the 13th.
He did much worse on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, he just sucks as a director, and I hate that shaky cam shit.
No love for Pathfinder.
You know what else is like really unique about this movie? And I think why it translated well, part of anyways. The movie set in the 70s, but all of your characters are dressed in a way that was appropriate for that time that the movie came out, because that whole like everybody wearing looking like towards like more like 70s style clothing, like these people were dressed just how you were seeing normal people.
It comes back. It seems to come back around,
and it was like the perfect time for that. Like we were at the reliving the 70s portion of our nostalgia trip.
Well, let me tell you something. They played Skinner in them opening moments, bro.
I'll tell you what. They're playing the Lord's music.
Hell yes.
You Southern boys, the South won't rise again. I'm sorry.
It's not a perfect film by any means, but I think it's
fun.
The film it needed to be at the time. And at least you're watching it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you should feel a little bit uncomfortable on the edge of your seat. And I think this did that. And it's impossible to follow Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but
I tell you
in
what,
a lot of ways,
if you're gonna cold show somebody like their first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, that's the one to do. Like that is a great introduction into what you might be getting later down the line.
And a great teaser trailer for this too is Song to the Siren playing and the girl just walking down the road, blood coming from, dripping down her leg.
She'd rather shoot herself than go back to where she just came from.
That was great.
Right?
And there's a lot of hate.
In that moment.
Yeah. There's a lot of hate for Platinum Dunes, but you know what? Even some of the shitty films stand up fairly well with some of this throwaway, glossy crap we're getting on Netflix nowadays.
Well, they're starting to become more of a product of their time now. Like, and we're looking back on them fondly.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that Hills Have Eyes remake catching hate, dude. Like, I'd say that is universally loved right now, but it wasn't.
Oh, I defended the hell out of that one.
I've loved that movie since I saw it in theaters. Man.
Yeah.
Platinum Dunes, the thing is, their films still look like movies, like real movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's something we've lost a lot of footing on. But I wanted to say just about Marcus Nispel, the director.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he made a film called Exeter, which is one of the most fun, underrated films out there. So if you like this, if you like the Friday remake, check out Exeter. It's an astonishingly fun movie, and no one ever talks about it. But
yeah,
the other thing about this film that I think is tough is, like, imagine someone walks up to you and says, "I want you to write and or direct a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake."
Mhm.
Who wants that gig? I mean, it's going to get exposure, but it almost universally bad exposure, at least in the abstract, right? Because you can't compare with Hooper's original. So the fact that we came out with a film that I'd say the majority of us are positive about, if not all of us,
is astonishing.
It is the biggest roll of the dice and surprise win in casino history. You know,
it is entirely different from the first movie, and it works.
Yeah,
he did not try to pretend to be Tobe Hooper. He did not try to emulate any of the look, the style, the feel. None. And he worked within that world.
Went for the fear. Yeah.
So do we
Let
all
me ask you
agree
guys a
then
question,
that
because
this
I always
is
wonder what people think about this. What do you guys think about him wearing Kemper's face? I honestly think it looks a little silly.
I fucking love that. Dude.
I like that part, man.
Like, that's a great scene. You know, she turns around and she sees he's wearing. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I thought that worked.
Yeah, I thought it worked well.
Yeah, I hear people say that they think it's like good, but I'm just like, I don't know. It kind of took me out of it, honestly.
I mean, I like, and you know what else? It leans really hard into the cannibalism, which is
part of the next movie.
I like that's like just whatever. But there's one gripe I have with this movie that I can't stand, and it bothers me every time. I really don't like it when she calls out those people for robbing the baby. Like, I just feel like if you just got relieved from being chased by a maniac with a chainsaw, I don't know if this is the time to be worrying about your moralities. You know, I just would want to not die. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, again, I think the third act is the weakest part of the film, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Andrew
where
Bernarski does a
that-
great
that's
job with his version of Leatherface, even if he is.
Bernarski's scary. He's an asshole, but he's scary in the movie.
And he wouldn't do that guy's an asshole.
And you know what?
Yeah,
this
he
may be the only other decent looking mask in the entire franchise.
I agree. Yeah, Bernarski wouldn't do the Zangief half thumb to Pugs at a concert, so he can fuck right off.
I've
heard a lot of people say that about him.
Didn't do it back. He just said
he
Pugs said he looked at it.
He was bothering somebody for coke, and they told us about it.
Well, he smokes crack at conventions for one, but I mean, he as soon as Gunnar Hansen died, like the news came out, he immediately came out and said he's the best Leatherface or some shit that he was.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck.
Really, really bad taste, bad timing, not funny.
Yeah.
Bill Johnson, R.A.'s better. They're all better.
Fuck that guy. And I like a lot of movies Barnarski's in too. But fuck that guy.
Jay wants to fight you, Andrew.
Well, I mean, sure. Let me hit that Coke can too, and I'll get after it, boy.
So are we all in agreement that this one was one of the better movies in the franchise then?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
It's my number 2.
I had no problems with it, really. I love it.
It's in the middle for me, but it's really solid. I mean,
it's was
a remake, and I hate remakes, and I love this.
Yeah, and it was
on paper.
It
It should
has
not
the
work.
distinction of being the only one with a Leonard Skinner song, so that definitely elevates it.
Look, I know some of you like Next Generation, but even if you liked it, the franchise was pretty damn dead at this point. So
yeah,
dude, that was like a 9-year hiatus.
Yeah, it's a very the breaks in between. It's an odd franchise in general.
Well,
There's
it's
a lot
never
of-
gotten. I don't think any of them have ever gotten their own sequel. You know what I mean? So the first one, they're all sequels to the original movie.
The next movie is a legit prequel to.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that exists in its own little universe.
Yeah, they all just try and be like the follow up to the first film.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've been Halloween 2018 in this shit since 1980, whatever, 5, 6.
Yeah, but they made better films at their worst than that thing.
I'm saying like that's not a new concept. That's all I'm
I
saying.
give
Like,
Jessica
No, it's
they
Biel
not.
can't,
You're right.
ass 10
they
out of 10
can't get,
chainsaws.
but they cannot get enough traction with Texas Chainsaw Massacre to even make another film in the series. They can't make a third part,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
which I guess this newest one will.
Yeah.
It will.
Well,
This
we'll
is
get to that.
Chris is dead last in the
Soul
chat
crushing.
there.
This is your dead last. Oh man, no. I think. Well,
Chris, I'd like to
till the
apologize
recent
about the
year, the
brain
rest of
injury that
these.
you apparently received.
Chris, post your full ranking, please.
Get well
Yeah,
soon,
sure.
brother. We're all praying for you.
I think Chris has got great taste.
What?
I would agree. Maybe not on Texas Chainsaw.
It's a whole
Sorry, Chris.
generations. Yeah.
Yeah, that introduced a lot of people to the franchise and saved it.
Yeah. I mean, while I wasn't introduced to it by it, it did kind of give me a revival on going back to the original and appreciating it. That's when I really grew to love the original, was after the remake.
I just remember the first act of this thing and sitting in the theater feeling actually kind of unsafe. And it's been a long time since a commercial film did that. You know, I'd seen independent films and foreign films that made me feel like I wasn't sure what was going to come. But actually, what I compare the first act of this thing to would be something like Audition, whereas you don't trust the movie.
Oh yeah,
and that's a pretty strong thing to say about a
Fucking
franchise.
love that movie.
me tue. Sorry, Lauren got excited.
that's all-
Audition's good. I agree. All right. Last thoughts on this remake. Like Kory said, it seems like it's at least generally liked. Nobody
Wait, hold
hates
on.
it
Can I tell you a funny story?
here.
Okay, let me tell you a funny story real quick about this movie. So, I pre-ordered this on DVD from Sam Goody, the one with the big one, the one that came with the license plate and stuff, right? You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Now show a pizza at work.
Oh, here.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Zach. Hell yeah.
Doesn't get any better, Orc.
And here's Chris's rankings. Oh, 2, 1, 4, 3. I'm with you for not maybe in that order, but being the first 4. Mine's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 2022. That's we'll get to that. And yeah. Except for the remake, man. I disagree with that.
Yeah, I would maybe revisit it because, again, I think there was a lot of just Platinum Dunes disdain back then.
Can I get a real talk?
Grave Abyss makes a good
Real
point.
talk.
I don't think we would.
10-4.
Real talk. Oh yeah.
All right.
We're going to Dream World. Here we go.
Fuck that shit.
This episode is sponsored by Pepsi products today.
Fuck Coca-Cola Dream World, nasty ass
Mountain Dew.
shit.
Pepsi is the voice of a new generation.
Yeah, but
Yes,
it's like
dude.
40 years. It's a new generation.
All right.
I think
We can
should
kind
wrap
of skip
this.
over the next 3, in my opinion. Yes, Beale, she looked
What?
great in this movie. That's just obvious. I didn't
Oh,
think
dude,
we
that's
needed to
peak
even say it.
Jessica Biel right there. dude.
Yeah.
She was
Did we
definitely
need to
hot
say it?
enough. I almost watched an episode of Seventh Heaven once.
Yeah, they painted the jeans on that girl. Like, there's no way that she put those on. They constructed them around her.
That ass, though.
Yeah, but they made her wear a bra and that fucking wife beater the whole time.
You
Like,
sure?
come on. Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Not
that is
until
kind
she
of
got
inaccurate to the times. You know, if in the 70s she wouldn't be wearing a bra.
Well, she wasn't gonna show her nipple. Come on. Yes, Bill. She's getting that Timberlake money now.
All right. Are you ready to move on to the next one, Jess?
We can skip the next 3 if you guys want to.
No.
Absolutely not.
Come on.
I mean, seriously, though,
We
this
go
movie
from Jessica Biel
bored the fuck
to
out of me.
Jordana Yum Yums.
So my
Yeah,
experience with this
there's
movie,
one.
I'll take Jessica back, please.
it's
It's
not.
also got that great song by Free All Right Now.
it suffers from being a prequel is what it does, because you know where everything's gonna end up.
I honestly, like, this is just my personal opinion. I don't even understand what that means. I love prequels. I love seeing the shit that I already know is going to happen actually happen.
No.
Like,
Well,
I'd
it
rather
blunts some
see it.
suspense.
I'd rather
though.
see it in a movie
Yeah.
than like read it or assume it. Like, I'd much rather visualize it in a
Yeah, I
movie.
think Jay's right here.
No, there's
that a
some
Yes,
things.
problem?
Hold on,
you
Jay.
need to zoom in on Jay here.
I'm trying. There's some things I would rather just
I'm not-
assume, though. Where are
Give
you?
me an opinion on this, fellas.
There he is.
I mean, if you don't
Fucking
like the
Simpsons.
execution, I
I'm
totally
thinking
can
those are
get behind
pokies,
that.
bro.
Nice.
But as far as prequels go, I love prequels, and this is definitely one of my favorites.
I do love this movie, and I have a weird experience with it because I went on a date to see. I took a lot of girls to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies coming up, as it turns out. Was my mom and my wife's first date was Texas Chainsaw 3D, but so I didn't really see the movie in the theaters. And then when it came out on DVD, I picked it up and I watched it with a different chick, and I didn't really get to see it then. But I was like, you kind of like, well, that looks interesting, And then, watched it a few days later, and it was actually a good movie too. So I got nothing but love for this movie, dude. You put it on around a chick and
Got like
game
fucking
on.
fantastic gore. Like, what's not to like?
It was boring.
What was boring about it? The pace is perfectly
It was
fine.
good,
All the
man.
characters are
I like the whole
entertaining and well performed.
draft
Like,
dodger fucking thing.
I think
That's
after
great,
that
too.
first the 2003 movie, I was excited for this, and it was just a letdown. And I don't need origin stories. Like I said, there's some things that are best left to they can't tell something greater than what's in your mind, even if you don't have something really played out.
There's definitely, I mean, look, the previous film is better. And again, I do think prequel, it does suffer from that personally. But you still have Arlie Ermy, really, and in this one in particular, stealing the show. This one's entertaining. It didn't need to exist. But
I'm glad it does, though.
yeah, it still ranks fairly high.
Does anything really need to exist, though, Dan? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's a movie. It's a slasher movie at the end of the day, and it delivers on its goods.
But you know where it's going, and
It'll
that's
never happen,
always an
Stu.
issue.
I really love when people try and break down horror movies too of this caliber. It's really fun.
You gotta love it, man.
It's a high caliber from the beginning, though.
Actually,
they had to do a prequel because they shot themselves in the foot when they cut his fucking arm off at the end of.
Yeah, they did.
Like some of the chat said earlier, I would have rather had a one-armed Leatherface.
Yeah, no. Let's not deny a one-armed Leatherface would have been an awesome thing.
You could have made that work.
They did it too late in the movie. Like, if they'd have done it earlier in the remake, like that,
then they would just be copying Child's Play 2.
That's what everybody's gonna say. It's like, you know what the new remake of Texas Chainsaw is like? It's a lot like Child's Play 2.
Or just
lot of voodoo.
It would have been awesome if in that
Give him
slaughterhouse
a
he just got
robot arm.
constantly wrecked and had to come back in various forms like Chucky did.
I
How about a peg leg Leatherface?
I wish they'd put fucking Ash Chainsaw in his hand, man. In the second
There
one,
you
fuck
go.
it. Why not?
One of my favorite parts is when you find out how dude loses his legs. I'm like, hey, there it is.
There's some silly moments, but I still think this ranks way above 3. Well, certainly know my thoughts on 4. I mean, it's a gore fest.
I don't mind this one. It's okay, but to me, it's the torture porn version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I fucking hate Texas torture porn. Hostile Eli Roth can go eat fucking bags of dicks all day long.
He didn't make this one, Jake.
Dude,
He can't hurt
absolutely
you.
not.
He started that whole fucking thing. Man.
All that shit is awesome, dude. How do you not like gore fests?
It's not. It doesn't work for me, brother.
Martyr sucks.
Jake, did you say you hate torture porn or you hate Texas?
I would argue that the Dr. Phibes movies really start torture porn. But anyway.
Well, I mean, of this era, you know what I mean?
You seen Guinea Pig?
No, I'm not gonna watch the stupid shit. I'm not gonna watch like Serbian.
No, that's what I'm
film.
saying. That came out way before Hostel.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
No, that is
mainstream.
literal torture porn. The first one.
I guess what I'm like.
Charlie
Hostel
Sheen
made
had called that shit into the FBI, bro.
There might have been some other factors there, some nose factors there.
So this is another David Chow screenplay.
Yeah, I was getting there. Yep.
Oh.
Once again, they pretty much pulled the middle of his screenplay out of it and wrote a new connecting tissue. So the very beginning is his, the end is definitely his, but a lot of it is not. But it fared better this time. It's kind of one note, though. I think that's what I have a problem with the movie. It's like it has this, I don't know, inflexibility to it. It just does what it does for 90 minutes or so and then ends. And I love the bleak ending. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I just the previous film had a lot more going on and a lot more range to what was going on. So it's easier to be a bigger champion of the remake than the prequel to the remake. And yeah, Dan's right. It does kind of tie its hands because if you have a survivor, then how does the next film even happen?
Yeah.
So from a story and a suspense point of view, I think it does kind of tie its own hands. But the bigger thing is just tonally, it's kind of all that kind of doom and gloom, brute masculinity thing going on, and that's all it's got going on. I think it's fine. I don't reach for this movie often.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's middle of the road, but it has some strong moments.
Very watchable.
It's tense. It is tense.
Are we just gonna skip over the fact that we get to see Mama fucking give birth to Leatherface right on the fucking butcher shop floor there? Throw her in the dumpster.
That is definitely a shout right there.
I don't understand why they can't just trust in a guy with that kind of track record and just do what he writes. I don't get it. I just don't understand why it makes no sense to me.
It happened with the fifth Nightmare on Elm Street film too.
Yeah.
They hired him to write the film. They removed an entire section of that film. They compressed 2 characters into one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy the amount of interference this man has put up with as a writer, as a screenwriter.
He's somebody, like, if I talk to him, I'd probably talk more about Killing Riff or The Shaft, but I would, if I could get him, I'd love to just pick his brain about the whole movie experience that he had, because it was never good for him.
Well, I think it's the second worst of the franchise. The beginning.
Your face.
That's all I have to say about
the franchise.
You don't like Jordana Brewster?
I didn't say anything. I have no problem with her. I'm a fan of her in the Fast and the Furious movies. That's
goddamn disgrace, Jess.
I actually.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was going to say I was actually at a Fangoria Weekend of Horrors panel for this movie, and she was there, the director. I got to sit right next to Arlie Ermy. He came in for the last panel and just sat next to me. That was so cool.
Did you get to tap her ass?
Arlie Ermy, or are you talking?
Her.
Neither one, orc.
Never mind.
Oh, I'd have got me some of them Arlie Army cheeks, bro.
I'm a big fan of Full Metal Jacket there.
Rest in peace, by the way. He made those 2 films memorable.
He did. And he's a
Damn
really
right,
funny
Stu.
guy, too. Somebody
nice words, Stu. Foxy. I dig it.
Somebody at the panel asked, like, how do you think this family would fare against the other family? And he just goes, we kicked the shit out of them. That's his answer. Got a big laugh.
So unfortunately, Jonathan Liebsman, the director of this thing, went on to make Wrath of the Titans.
Did he also do the Hills Have Eyes 2 remake? Or am
I don't think he directed that. He might have had something to do with it.
Oh.
But on the other side, I mean, listen, he did. Remember, Darkness Falls. That was his kind of splash film. Right?
It's not as bad. It had a good opening.
Great opening.
Yeah, it falters, but
it's fine. But the opening is awesome.
Here's $1 million idea: the Tooth Fairy, but fucking terrifying.
He also did Battle Los Angeles, so
I kind of like that movie. It's shit, but I kind of like that movie.
Yeah, it's fun. Dumb.
And he did that most recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Nothing to do with it. I was wrong.
Yeah, no, I couldn't remember who directed too, but yeah, it wasn't him.
All right.
I was actually kind of surprised. this was another one of the movies that I seen for the first time.
What the hell?
And
sorry,
the Jordana Brewster and Matthew, help me out here. Is it
Matthew
Bomber
Dad.
or Bomer or whatever?
Bomber.
Matthew Dad.
Bomber.
Oh.
We're both
Boner.
in a show I watch as often as possible called Chuck, and in that show there's a storyline where the two of them ended up getting together or whatever, and it just, to me, it was funny that they were together in this movie. So
Matt Bomer's also American Horror Story as well.
Oh.
also was in White Collar, and I believe he's in the Magic Mike movies. Not that I've seen them. My wife watches them. So
which one is he, Kory?
I couldn't tell you. I know Kevin Nash is in that one too. So
is he Big Dick Richie?
I couldn't tell you.
I love me some Magic Mike. Stop it.
Magic Mike's got to be better than Next Generation. I'll give it that much.
Oh, come on.
Double XL. Double XL is way better. You know what I'm saying?
Good God, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's a couple of Texas Chainsaw Massacre alumni in there. So,
Oh man.
Where were we?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. Any last thoughts? Anybody haven't given theirs yet?
good movie. I like the explanation with the beginning and the remake on why it is that Leatherface has to wear a mask. So,
yeah. So everybody's favorite next, Jess?
Oh, fuck yeah.
What did I? Oh,
hold on.
Somebody's getting ready to take a nap.
I do. And I actually do have something to say about this, but I can't say.
This is the only one I have not seen. So, boys, take it away.
No, Kory with a K.
Well, yeah, seen it. It's an experience you need to have. Like,
it's
fun. Two good reasons to see it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, there's such a multitude. Realistically, it's fantastic.
Okay, so this movie is what it is, and I don't.
It's great.
I don't come down too hard on it, but the thing that I cannot get over is the fucked up timeline.
Whoa, my God, bro! You got to be fucking kidding me. That's what you're gonna come at it with, really?
Yes, dude. That kind of shit.
Let me ask you a question.
Bothers me.
Like when you
me
watch
too.
Movies, let me ask you a question. When you watch movies, does everything have to be reflective of your actual reality?
Okay, no. That's not a question that you get to ask like that, because this is wanting me to assume that this is the exact same reality that I live in, but a mirror of. There's
okay,
no
do you have the same problems about the second film?
You don't have to assume that the year is what you think.
No.
Do you have the same problem about part two?
No. Hang on. This is different because the problem is inside its film.
The second film has the same problem.
One more question, and I'll let it go.
No.
Do you have an issue with the Friday the 13th timeline, for that matter?
Yeah, that's a good question.
No.
That's good. I don't. But
Jonathan,
again,
no.
It's the problem within the movie. So the movie tells us it's 1970 whatever.
When does it say that?
It never says that.
It never does.
It's on a newspaper clipping in the beginning. The error he's pointing out is in the movie. He's right. But I'm going to ask. So when Rob shows up to avenge Sandra's death in final chapter, is that cool? Because she's been missing for like 40 hours.
I get what you're saying, but hang on.
But the second Texas Chainsaw Massacre film has just as big a temporal problem.
Not within the same movie.
Yes,
it's not a jump.
It does. It absolutely does. The opening crawl contradicts the movie you watch.
Okay. I mean, it's more egregious in this movie then.
Because you see it that way.
There's no way it's more egregious, bro. Like, I mean, what isn't Texas Chainsaw? Isn't Friday 5 like in the 90s?
Okay, that's fine. I'm saying that the mistake happens inside the one film. It's nothing from a film that came before it or after it. They cannot decide what year it is.
Yeah.
It would be better if the mistake were not there.
Well, not to mention you've got
I
Chop
don't see how that
role.
affects the actual movie though.
You've got
you
Leatherface
can-
playing a
it
different
was
role.
How does it make the
lazy,
movie
Drew.
less?
It's easy to fucking fix.
Lazy.
You can overlook it for
But
sure.
like, but
No,
what
and I
does it
do. I
actually
usually
do
I
that
can
changes the
overlook
movie?
it. I'm saying it's one humongous glaring
only-
flaw.
The only problem with it is this. They wanted to put an actress in the film that would put butts in seats. That's the only problem with the film.
Whoa, let's
Oh,
talk
no,
about this
there's-
film.
Lauren, of all people.
No, seriously. Well, think about this. They never state Diodario's age in the film, but we know by looking at her, she's not in her early 50s, right? So that's the problem. That's the only thing that doesn't really line up. That's it.
No, you're right. I mean, that fixes the movie.
So
That's what I'm
so
saying.
the casting director said, "Hey, we can get Alexandria Daddario, to be in our film," and they said, "Hell yeah!" So if that's your complaint that she's in the film, you and I have bigger problems, sir.
I can suspend disbelief
That's
for
not
that.
That
my
was some twisted
That wasn't.
bullshit. You spun that. You spun.
It's not. That's the problem
He's
with the
good at
film.
that.
If they got a
No,
if they got
you
50-year-old
created
actors
a
to play
fucking
the same
problem
role.
and then worked backwards to fucking solve it. That's not how it works.
No, if they got a 50-year-old actress to do the same thing,
Mhm.
what would there be a plot problem with the movie?
No, if they wrote the movie to be set in the 90s, would there be a fucking problem with the movie?
Not as
Yes.
bad.
Yeah, because there's cell phones in it. So yeah, there would.
Okay, don't put the goddamn cell phones in it. That's why I
The
said
cell phones aren't the
write-
problem.
if
The
you write
actress
the
being
movie-
cast is
The
the
cell
problem.
phone doesn't
That's
do
the only
anything to
problem.
make the movie less
That's not the only
entertaining.
problem. It can be
Yes, it
fixed
is.
2 different ways.
It's the only problem.
But you know what, though, man? It wasn't fixed, and it's
No,
still
and that's
one,
that's
fight.
why it falls so far down for me.
dude.
Cool.
I'm honestly like, I just feel bad for you that ruins it for you because it's a really fun movie.
It's fucking
really fun.
logic. How does that not ruin anything?
Dude, I don't
for
know,
anybody?
man. When I watch movies, I just don't use logic.
No,
I just have a good
no,
time.
we don't know, because if you want me to fucking stay with you and say this is how this happened, and then this is how these people are dealing with it, and we're all in a real fucking world, and there's no fucking magic going on, you cannot explain why it's all of a sudden fucking 2010 or whatever it is. From
Dude,
and
all I
she's
can
fucking
say is it
20.
works for me, brother.
Right. It's a casting decision that you're
It
arguing.
is not a
about.
casting
It's not a plot
decision.
problem.
It is not a casting decision.
It is.
It is not. You would have to
What?
recast her.
Dude,
and
no,
the
it
entire
is
rest of the
factually a
cast.
casting decision. Like I've personally
not saying
talked
wrong.
to Adam Marcus about this.
So
They
the
had
entire- so
various
the- so this-
financiers who were
Adam
on
Marcus.
the movie.
Adam Marcus
The
is the reason we
financiers
have this
switched.
fucking problem.
The financiers switched. They had different producers who wanted to bring them to more modern characters. That's what happened. That's the reality.
Okay, then change the goddamn script.
Hey, do you want me to become the biggest heel of the night? Because I'll make a statement that's gonna take it all off of Jonathan right now.
Danny
him
boy,
something,
make
brother.
me hate you. Make me
Let's
fucking
go.
hate you, baby.
What do you got,
Oh,
Dan?
you're going to work. I'm gonna bring the heat right now.
No,
Let's go,
don't.
Dan.
Don't, Dan.
Alexander Daddario is beautiful. Tanaya Raymond is prettier.
Dude, fuck that.
I stand by it.
I don't know who the
He's
fuck
not
that
the reason I
is,
watch
but
horror
you're
movies
wrong.
anyway. So.
Who is this guy?
Who?
Tanaya Raymond, her friend, the Nikki.
Oh, dude! Oh my
Bro,
god!
come
Get
on,
the-
bro.
I
no,
stand
it's
by
fine.
it.
I've seen some of the women Dan like, so I can understand you say something.
I think that girl works at Jake's Dollar Store now.
I have
yeah.
exquisite taste.
Let's
and
not attack dollar stores.
Tell him.
No, not at all.
Lauren.
Bro, she's like the embodiment of what the Beatles music would look like.
Is that good? Bad? I don't know what that means.
The greatest band in the world. It's the highest compliment you can get.
Are you Daddario or Tanaya right now? Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Daddario, of course, Dan.
I thought we were
Tanaya.
talking about horror.
Mrs. Do Your Thing, cuz is who you're talking about.
So yeah, I love it. I love this movie, and I love it for not good reasons. To me, this feels like those great later direct-to-video sequels that are way better than they have any right to be.
Mhm.
And taken in that category, this is as good as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film we probably deserve to get.
Lauren, do you like the rapper?
You're
Trey
getting
Songz.
booed, Dan. You're getting booed.
It's a film that exists inside a specific package, right? And if you dig it, you're gonna enjoy it if you go along with the ride. I do. I think it's really fun. It got back to the Southern Gothic tradition of the first film in a strange sort of modern, goofy way. And I love making Leatherface into an anti-hero simply because how many times are we going to pull the same bullshit with this character? This is the first one that said, "Hey, let's actually do something with him that we haven't seen before."
I just want to say though, like, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but that movie is a fucking ball and a biscuit in 3D. So much fun.
I saw it at the theaters in 3D.
I did too.
Awesome.
And it didn't help.
No,
it was awesome, dude. It was so awesome.
No, it was just slightly blurry.
Blurry?
That's not what I meant, but it wasn't even that fun a 3D.
Jonathan had 3D trifocals.
He went in with his red and blue glasses.
I did not.
I went in with this right here.
That was
That's what I went in with. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, brother. Yeah.
You needed it for this movie.
I don't,
brother.
I don't love this movie, but I get it. It's a lot more fun than 3 or 4.
It's more fun than 2 other movies, but not those.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't love it. I don't. It's not a movie I've ever felt the need to really shit on particularly, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of prefer the Platinum Dune version.
No.
It's firmly my number 2, and I don't think it'll ever be taken away from
Vision, I should say.
Wow, out of a big
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Man, this is your number 2.
Everybody, the movie's
Oh,
fan
yeah.
is in here with us tonight.
Number
fucking-
2 for sure.
Oh my God.
I love this movie. Not as much as Drew, but I love it a lot.
You know what, Jake? You like dog shit, and then you'll fly off the handle at something. And we're like, oh, y'all like that? It's fucking terrible. Fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, you fucking masterpiece.
It's not a matter.
Get me goddamn dip jaw.
I was waiting for the dip cut to go.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, give me twisted tea. Sit down, throw on Texas Chainsaw
Hell yeah, brother.
3D, boy.
Hey, it's a fun fucking movie, man.
Oh yeah, it is.
And I can suspend my disbelief. I don't like Jonathan's over here worried
No,
about.
it's such a big fucking problem in the movie
And
that they
Dan
have
Yeager's
to
awesome
cover
as
up
Leatherface,
shit
too.
on newspapers.
It's
and
about
It's the
fucking
most confusing
tombstones.
timeline in a franchise full of confusion
This,
in its
no, this whole
timeline.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah. And
timeline
Dan
of this
Yeager's
whole
great
goddamn
too, by the way.
franchise.
That doesn't
Dan
make it
Yeager.
okay that this bitch is supposed to be 50.
It's about a fucking movie with a guy who wears a face with a fucking chainsaw. It's a fucking
God damn it,
timeline.
Jake, but time should still fucking work correctly. I don't care how big that fucking chainsaw is or how fucking mentally handicapped he is. It doesn't make fucking time work like that. I don't
Who
give
gives a
how
fuck
many
about
people
time,
they
dude?
eat.
I can't think of any
fucking do,
movie
because
I've
it's one
ever
thing
watched
that's
where
goddamn
time was like
constant
a
in life.
factor of my rating.
When you have to
I mean,
write
I watched Back
around
to the
it,
Future
you
and I
have to
loved it,
shoot
dude.
around the
That's
fact that you
nothing
can't
like
explain
the
the
year that
fucking
it came out
timeline
to
in
be
your
at all.
movie.
Back to the Future is not anywhere near
So
reflective
wait,
of what that time
wait a
is.
second.
And I
We're
still love
okay we're okay with 40-year-olds portraying high school students in most fucking slasher movies.
I am actually. I love
It's
that.
What's up, my fellow students?
No, it's more like a quirky, funny thing.
I think
didn't-
they
That's
should
what
still
this
be
is.
casting.
I wasn't the casting director on that shit, so I got nothing to tell you about why they're casting a 50-year-old to play a 20-year-old. But I mean, I didn't have anything to do with that. I also didn't have anything to do with the movie being shot with a fucked up timeline. I feel like I would have said something if I was at the goddamn table when they were doing the reads, being like, "Hey, what year is this, guys?"
Yeah, but this
and we could have taken 20 minutes and fucking fixed it.
Bro, 20 minutes? Are you talking about a complete wardrobe change? What are you talking about?
No, not a complete fucking wardrobe change. Just
Oh, I'm
fucking
sure,
explain it.
Jonathan, if they would have not changed the wardrobe, that's what you'd be
No,
complaining
how
about right
fucking
now.
stupid do you have to be to get all the way to where you have a goddamn wardrobe?
Wait,
before you realize the timeline in your movie.
I feel like earlier in this discussion, people were defending like the third and fourth films like hardcore here. This makes no sense to me.
I don't even hate this movie that bad. I just don't want to hear the fucking excuses for why this gets a pass.
I don't even.
Jonathan hates tits, okay?
It doesn't get a
Jonathan
pass.
hates tits.
The whole
It
thing
does
is
not get a pass.
movie exists as like a direct-to-video Labor and Day sequel. They don't ever make sense.
Lauren, those movies
no.
can fucking explain their timeline.
Kids is a fucked up movie.
I heard about this movie probably before most of you, if not all. So, and that's rare.
I wish I would have known you, Jesse. You could have told me how much I was going to love it.
Well, I was sitting in a living room at my house with David Bourne, who is one of the Sawyer family members in this movie. I think he's Dad Sawyer. I don't know, kind of middle-aged guy. He looks like Robin Williams. He's actually a Robin Williams impersonator.
Oh, wow.
And we're watching, it's through another buddy of mine. So there's me, my lady, David Bourne, and my friend. And I think we're watching the very first episode of Walking Dead at the time. And we start talking about his career. He lives in Texas. He's an actor, Robin Williams impersonator. And I was like, so you doing anything recently? And he's like, well, we're actually filming a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so he proceeded to tell me a little bit more about it. He's like, yeah, Bill Moseley's in it, and he's a friend of mine. He's a super awesome guy. And they're going on, it's going to be a sequel to the original. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be great. Got a great cast, and I go and see it in the theater, and it, to me, kind of sucked. It was confusing, like Jonathan said, just the whole timeline and the.
What would
it bothered me
to
that
fucking fix that? That's
Gunnar Hansen's in it, but he's not Leatherface. Bill Moseley's in it.
The argument
of
is
course
you don't want one of the most
Chop
attractive women in the planet to front your horror.
That's not going to
God
save the whole
damn,
movie.
that is not an argument. That is just.
That is what you are saying. That is everything you're saying.
Rewrite the goddamn movie when you get Alexandria Daddario in.
Yeah,
if you wrote the movie for a 50-year-old person and now you have a 23-year-old person playing that part, you probably need to go back and fucking erase some shit and rewrite.
I'm so glad they didn't, man. I'm so grateful for it.
This is ageism.
Hey, I played a middle school student when I was 25.
Hell yeah.
You
could still do that today, Jess, if you wanted to.
Was that with the mom from Growing Pains, Jess?
Yes, that was on Phil of the Future. It's on your Disney Plus. The episode, I think, is called Double Trouble.
No, it's not. You're on Phil of the Future? I'm
on Phil of the Future. Right, I don't have any lines, but I'm featured.
Double Trouble?
Shots. Yeah. I'm like the tallest kid in the school.
How old were you when you did that?
25.
Carolyn Monroe was 37 when she did Slaughter High, so
they put me in the makeup chair, but it's cool.
Did you have your hair slicked back with a little
It's spiked up. It's all wild. I'm like the middle school drug dealer. That was what I came up with in my head.
That was your character.
In my head,
he was like the undercover narc who thinks he's pulling the cover over the kid's head. I'm just a kid, just like you. I like Transformers.
They told Jess it was the remake of 21 Jump Street. And he was like, "Oh, that sounds great.
I can do this. It's finally the role I can play."
Phil the Future.
So I have never seen this movie, but there's two things that I've got to throw out here. One, if anybody's interested in knowing what Dan's type of attractive women are, go to S'mores and Doors, check out the Porn Star Tournament. You'll get a real good idea on what Dan likes.
Tanaya does not have any tattoos. I am diverse.
How many girls are in this movie?
What do we get? 3 in here?
And you get the original Sally Harvesty as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So your options are pretty limited, aren't they?
She would rank high in any cast. Tanaya's beautiful. I'm sorry.
Damn it, Jess! It's not on your IMDb.
Yeah, they because it was an extra role. Maybe if I would have gotten the featured bully part, because they sat me in the chair, that they thought one of the kids who was going to be a bully in the group wasn't showing up.
I want to see.
He ended up showing up, but I still got a lot of featured shots.
Okay, so there's no episode called Double Trouble. So
I want Jess Graham.
It's directed by Joanna Kearns. I can't remember. I have the DVD upstairs somewhere.
I want to see Jess Graham now, just as an 80s bully, just stealing somebody's milk.
Do you remember what season it was at least?
Shoving them in a locker.
Dude, that show sucked. I didn't watch it.
There's only 2 seasons. There may have been you may have caught if you were in the first season or not.
What's the name of that episode?
What year did you do it? I can do it by then.
Dude, I'd have to look at a pay stub.
Well, you were 25, Jess.
You were 25. That's what I was going to say. You can quick maths.
Jess is like 49 now, so
That'd have been
That would have been
2006,
2005.
2006, maybe.
You know that
Okay.
worked with
that's-
on Hannah Montana, but she pressed charges, so not.
oh really?
I never worked
It's
with
on
Hannah
Disney
Montana, but I
Plus.
did work with iCarly and Company. I did work for
Very
Nickelodeon for a couple of years. I worked for Disney for.
Did you work with
couple
that
years on
Dan? That,
projects.
what's that dude's name?
Did you work with Dan Schneider?
I didn't work with that dude. No, thank God.
You didn't have to show your feet.
We were more of a side production within Nickelodeon.
Did you work with Brian Peck?
No, thank God too.
Oh,
I worked with a producer called Amy Kim. She's produced Joe Dirt 2 and Daphne and Velma movie and a few other things.
Nice.
So,
nice.
wow.
mostly
What a
safe as
great,
far as
like,
the
filmography.
children. The children are safe. There is my point.
Jess, if I send you like a corn on the cob, can you just like autograph it and send it back to me?
I'll send you a genuine Iowa corn on the cob.
Thank you.
Why would you send one from Maine?
Jess, I'm scouring Phil the Future until I find it.
Hold on, I can't remember the
Yes,
name of
I
it.
believe that the children are our
You-
future.
I don't know what Phil the Future
I'll
is,
tell you it
Jeff, but
after.
if I can get an 8x10 or a mini poster, I'm gonna have you sign it at Scarefest.
Yes.
Guys, I was like a featured extra, you
No,
know.
that's
here,
what
here.
makes it funny, Jess.
Double trouble.
We've got to
Yeah,
get
broadcast
Yeah, season
blues
1,
are-
episode 5.
Oh, fuck.
Season 1, episode 5.
Double
That's-
trouble.
Let me just say, this is not my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's
Season
my
1, episode
favorite
5 is
review of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre of all time.
As what? Say that again. I'm sorry.
It's my
Skip
favorite
those.
review of a
18.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie of all time.
It's episode
Are we over-
18, actually.
Are we over the timeline thing now, Jonathan? Can we-
Are we done with
I'll never
Texas
be over
Chainsaw
that.
3D?
This is the man who defends all the crap in Aliens.
Okay, now we can start to
Double
get into the
trouble,
nitty
here
gritty
we go.
because
Yeah.
the next movie has too many haters for some weird reason.
And
Oh, fuck the next movie.
I have nothing
No.
to say about the next movie at
Yeah,
all.
worst
Yeah, we wanna-
episode ever.
okay.
We're going to talk
I'll
about
have three.
timeline trouble. This shit right here.
This really doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw movie.
I have
it
brief
doesn't feel at
thoughts
all.
about the next one.
He's
But-
just a boy.
Just
But I want to know right about the bat. Did anybody watch this on DirecTV?
I did.
I did too.
Why would you have DirecTV?
Yeah, I did at the time.
Yeah, I believe I did initially, if I recall. My thoughts are brief, so I'll go. Going into this the first time I saw it, I mean, it wasn't great, but I often looked at it as like, I wonder if this just wasn't a Texas Chainsaw, if it would be decent, if you could just subtract that from it. The main issue, Bulgaria here, you feel it. It doesn't look like Texas at all. It doesn't have the feel. There's moments that honestly are not half terrible. The second watch when we did our show earlier in the year did not really hold up at all. I don't love the film, but it has its moments. It's bad, but it's not awful.
You know what I would say, by the way, Dan? Like, because I mean, maybe this is because I'm from Texas, but every one of these movies that's not filmed in Texas, I can totally feel it. Like, Texas Chainsaw 3 does not feel like Texas, Louisiana. Texas Chainsaw 3 does not feel like it at all. That's California. And yeah, this one is definitely the least Texas feeling movie of them all.
Nobody ever truly
close.
captured what one did. I
On the
guess
outskirts.
2003 is as close.
But
as
like
it
2
gets.
and 4 feels super Texas to me. That feels like Austin. That feels like Bastrop and all that. That feels very much like Texas to me.
Yeah, well, I should say rural. Yeah, Texas. The first one, I don't think anybody's fully captured that, and never will.
We're gonna be the only one that likes this movie.
Dude, I
didn't
love
hate
it. I absolutely love it. Now I don't defend that it's like the most far removed from tone. If you're gonna define a tone for this franchise, which is kind of strange, but I mean it's so much fun. If it wasn't a TCM movie, I think people would definitely be like, yeah, this is a pretty solid little movie from 2017. It's about these people from a mental institution that just go on a road and start just fucking people up. Like it's a really solid, fun movie for that matter. It's great, got great gore in it. I love the alternate ending of the movie. The alternate ending, I think, is much better because it's kind of creepier.
Yes.
But Yeah, I don't know. I don't find anything I don't like about the movie. I love everything about it.
Take the TCM stuff out of it. It's a decent little road movie, man. I hated it first time I seen it. I rewatched it for the show because it's the only one I hadn't seen, and
Thank
I
you,
really
Big
liked
T.
it. I just think, I mean, there was a lot of silly decisions, like the twist, like of who Jed are supposed to be, and all that shit. But I think it's a good road movie in there. It's got good gore and good kills.
Jess Graham.
Wow.
It is.
Oh, look at that fucking stud! Wow.
You just need a skateboard in your other hand.
Yeah, dude.
No, that's great right there.
That was worth it.
There's several shots in there. It's the mom from Growing Pains, as Kory said. I start off in one of the opening scenes like holding books to the camera and walk away, and then I basically you see me circle like twice.
I want my douchebag Jess 8x10 signed immediately. I'm gonna get this shot somehow.
Yeah, I wouldn't play too much of this if I were you.
Yeah, Disney will really get me.
Yeah, I would not.
But thank you.
That's still shot. I'll go later and watch it and just watch.
Oh,
the.
Yeah. It's on my docket right now.
Thank you,
Sorry,
sweetheart.
Jess, I've never heard of Phil of the Future. But...
Dude,
I believe it has something to do with a caveman.
Like Encino Man?
I think so. I think it's an Encino Man type.
I haven't even watched that episode in full. So
wasn't there another show? It wasn't Disney or Nickelodeon. Joan something.
Joan of Arcadia. Yeah, I forgot I was on that show until something reminded me of it.
I've heard of that at least.
Amber Tamblyn or whatever.
Tamblyn, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Quick funny
I got
story.
a few shots on that.
He calls me up from LA, and he's telling me about all the stuff that he's been doing, and tells me that he was on this show. So I was like, okay, whatever. A couple weeks later, my wife and I decide we're going to swing by a thrift store. So I walk in, and they've got a movie section. So I'm looking at all these used movies. There is season 1 and season 2 of Joan of Arcadia still in the package at this thrift store for like $2 each. So I grab them because he said he was in them. So anyway, I to this day, I still haven't opened them. I think they're in a box somewhere. But if you happen to be in any of those episodes, Jess, I'll let you know.
Thank you. Find it.
I gotta try to find you. I gotta find you in the fucking Aviator too.
I am in the Aviator.
Oh,
that is on
one.
IMDb.
That's
I was Union on that one.
That was the speed record scene or whatever. Jess was in the group of people that were applauding.
Was Scorsese on set when you were there? Or?
Oh yeah, he actually did talk to us for a moment.
Jess is the guy that comes in with the milk.
I do look like I am a milkman, kind of.
Now, I'm very versatile. I can bring you some milk. I can also play a middle schooler.
I can take your jars of urine away.
It kind of fell in by accident that I even can be on IMDb or was a small union group of extras because I was initially cast in the large Queen Mary scene, so I would have been probably never seen. And I don't know. They thought they had too many young looking faces for that scene. So I got bumped to this part, and it happened to be a union and more prominent extra role. So I got more money, more days. When it rained, I got more money.
What do you get paid to be an extra?
Good money.
It's casting agency. If it's non-union, it's like minimum wage. California.
Yeah, Union's pretty good.
Union was pretty nice. On the Aviator, one night I almost was to the point of making my daily rate per hour. I made some money for like 3 days of work on the Aviator and was paid for a fitting too.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, that scene that Jess is in the Aviator, he's the tallest one in that group. So you should not be able to miss him.
It's a group of engineers. It's right before he breaks the speed record. We applaud, and then his plane starts going down, and we all start running to these old cars, and then that's about it.
Okay.
I was supposed to be in more, but the car I was in kept breaking down, so that shot got cut out.
I was in McDonald's.
This is awesome. I gotta watch the Aviator
All right.
ASAP.
No more talking about me. It's not what this show's about.
Yeah, I got to go to bed anyway, guys. But it's been real.
Well, right before you go, what do you? Are we here?
I
The
fucking love that
finale.
movie. I love that movie. I got nothing bad to say about it.
All right.
Night, Jonathan.
Night, Jonathan.
Good
Thank you
night.
very much for coming, brother.
Thanks for being wrong.
You don't want to talk about your orgy scene in Wolf of Wall Street, Jess.
I don't remember it. That's the problem. So what do you think, guys? I mean, I'll just say it. I don't have a lot, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, I went in with low expectations, and I came out. It was the most fun I've had with Texas Chainsaw since 2003.
Dude,
Almost
I loved
20
it
years.
too, man. I went in with very low expectations as well. I was completely taken aback by what unfolded as the movie progressed. It got better and better. It's just schlock fucking phantasm. I love it.
Yeah, I had a great time with it too. I actually got into an argument with, I guess, a prominent female movie reviewer on YouTube because she was all upset about how bad it was. I'm like, well, what do you expect really from the 9th Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie?
Yeah.
They've gotten it done so well the first 8.
Remember,
So-
Kory? Like, you remember how much of there was such an excess of basic ass people talking shit about this movie?
Yeah,
I think it's because it was on Netflix or something. But there was
maybe.
a sea of just random nobodies saying this movie was awful.
That's what YouTube is now, a random fucking nobody.
I just thought it was funny. They're like, it
Fucking
no way,
awful, that's
no
why.
way lived up to the original. I'm like, did you expect it to? I mean, honestly.
Wait. You could apply that logic to absolutely any film then. Everyone's gonna have an opinion. Everyone's opinion is valid. I think this film is fucking awful, and I don't get what everyone else saw in it. It's vapid. It's just unbelievably drab. The characters are awful. All the dialogue is just endless recycling of anything they think would be topical. It's an awful film. The bus scene, yeah, it's gory, but it looks fake as fuck. So who cares? I didn't like any of the characters. I mean, this is near the bottom for me of this franchise. Real near the bottom for me. It's not a worse film than the third film because that's a bigger betrayal, but this is bad. This is a bad movie. And I don't care if it was the 100th film in the series. That doesn't buy it latitude to be bad.
I mean, again, I get it. People like the kills, and there were a couple, that ending, fun, I guess, taking it by itself. I just don't get the hype with this one, I guess. There's so many greatest horror movie of the year, and I just don't think there was a whole lot there. I get it, maybe the humor worked for some people. It just didn't. I don't know. It's just I don't get the fuss. I don't despise this movie or anything like that. It's just it's
pretty close to.
It's not great. It's not great.
Here's the thing. You can complain about 3D's time problem, right? And it is ultimately a casting issue and whatever. This film actually suggests that you can pull a chainsaw out of a wall that's been boarded up in a wall for 40 years and just start it.
Oh yeah, there's some
shit like that's completely idiotic.
Yes.
And it's but the same people are attacking a different film in the series. Well, defend this one. There's a lot.
They made them better back then.
How do you actually? How does the orphanage take in a serial killer, hide them from the police, hide documents? How does this all happen?
Yeah, the why there is strange. I don't know that I'm too quick to take in.
Every small town in Texas.
Let's bring the man with the face mask in to commingle with the children.
And what happens in those intervening years? Come on, this is stupid as fuck.
It's not funny dumb though to me. Like I like a lot of dumb shit. It's just I didn't think it was funny dumb. I get the enjoyment of the kills. Again, I guess if you just showed those separately, I'd be like, oh, okay, that looks cool. But as a whole, the movie's just not that good, and I don't understand.
The characters have been dog shit for the last 4 fucking movies.
Yes.
Not more.
Oh, I would rank them higher in previous films.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the characters are the worst.
It's more fun to watch them die.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yes.
characters suck in this movie, but I can't wait for them to fucking die.
Okay, but if that's all you want,
And
that's
they do.
fine. I want something different.
Okay, yeah.
So, but here's the thing: is like also they doing the Halloween 2018 thing of like, oh, we'll bring back Sally, but it's a different actress, so it has absolutely no impact.
I didn't care for
No.
that. Yeah, it had no
Well, they
impact.
didn't fucking dig her corpse up and put her on set. Jesus
No,
Christ.
right.
Well, then by the logic we've been having in the arguments, just write a different character.
Let's
Bring
not
back
move-
Stretch for
I
Christ's
wanted
sake.
Stretch. That's what I
Easily
said. Bring
why.
back Stretch. It would have been even better.
Mick Garris did his fucking best on that movie, guys. As Sally. Fuck him.
He is a handsome man.
But I don't know why they brought her back. That's one thing I'll agree with that. That whole thing was fucking pointless to even have her come back for just that.
And then
They didn't need her, but they wanted to go the Halloween 2018 round.
Dude, but her death was so bad.
It was badass, I give you that. But
is that all? Is that
Fucking cool.
if that's all you want?
For that reason alone, I'm happy.
There you go, Jamie.
it's fun, dumb fun.
Dumb fun. Yeah, exactly.
What characters sucked before though? Because I didn't really hear a lot of in the previous movies, except maybe the one right before this.
All of
I
them.
don't remember a lot of you complaining about characters sucking. I thought we had a lot of memorable characters in Texas Chainsaw franchise.
You guys are talking about fucking Disney movies and shit. I don't have time to say it.
I think with this one, when you're talking about characters, the thing I took away from it was, I thought I was meant to hate the characters, and be more on the other side of things in this one. So,
In the last film, they all fucking were annoying, and everything was retarded, like hiding in a cow. What?
I didn't think the actors were bad in the last one. I mean,
Bro, the hiding in the cow was awesome. What are you talking about, Orc?
No, it's just gay. Sorry, man.
Dude, how is it
And all the endless virtue signaling in this film is just obnoxious.
Dude,
But they
that's
go
the thing
against
I love
that,
about
though.
They
Yeah,
don't.
I thought
They go
go
against
against
They chop its fucking head
don't.
off,
fucking
man.
the redneck cis white male is the fucking hero, man.
Except he's
He's
not.
a piece
know,
of
that's the
shit.
thing I love
He
about it.
uses
He just
gasoline. Fuck him.
falls on
right?
its face.
Yeah.
All the messaging falls on his face, but that doesn't excuse it. I mean, it's there for a reason. It's just an obnoxiously topical film that I don't think is going to age very well, and I didn't enjoy it at all. That's cool. If you guys like it, cool. But haven't we fallen a long way from the original at this point? Like a long way from the original.
You know
at
what?
this point?
I think it was Piz who said this, man. I think that movie was supposed to be something else, and I think it was edited into something else, and that's what I love. Because it's just like Jake said, it's just dumb fun. I'm not going to say anything highbrow about it whatsoever.
Sure.
But
That's all I wanted. That's all I expected. You know, I didn't
that's
expect
why-
high
For me,
art
like
here.
the to me, like I said earlier, the original movie is to me the greatest horror movie ever. It hasn't ever been topped or even come close to it. When I watch a TCM movie, I'm not looking for anything to touch that. I just want to have fun with Leatherface, really.
Cool. I can't argue with that. But
You can't say this is worse than the previous film.
the previous film, no. But I don't hear a lot of people out there defending the bullshit in the previous film. That's the difference.
I think there was a more interesting idea, possibly, with the previous movie. This one, I really didn't care about anything or anyone. The previous one, like, hey, not the best execution for sure, but I think there might have been a better movie there that they just didn't pull off. But yeah, I don't know. This one didn't hit for me the same way. Kudos for taking out, I don't know the character's name off the top of my head, but short hair. I guess that got at least a chuckle out of me. And that's
at the end where they're decapitated.
Oh,
yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I was like, every as the film progressed, it
Oh,
was
sorry.
less and less PC and annoying. And I was like, yeah, and that's what I enjoyed a lot
Still
about
ending
it.
with the car saving the
She
day.
has Harry Pitts, and she got her head cut off. It's funny.
Yeah, you know, I don't know where they go from. It'll be interesting to see what they do as a direct sequel now to this. But
Just
Is that like the confirmed plan, Dan? Like it's going to be a follow up?
the last I heard, I thought that's what they were doing, but I haven't heard, I guess, 100%. So maybe I hope it's not another prequel or something. Just go off of this now and do whatever you're gonna do. I don't know if that's true, Ben. I don't know. I don't know if it's been long enough in between Texas Chainsaws for it to have blown up at
I don't
the
think
actual
people
theater.
knew that last one existed.
No, they
Direct-to-video.
carried that movie as much as they could.
It's, I mean, yeah, it's got CGI gore, right? That sucks. Obviously, we probably all agree with that. But you're not going to get the sadness here, you know? Like, they're not going to invest the money in that for the fucking proper gore effects.
Yeah,
it sucks, but they're not going to.
No eyeball trauma. Nice.
So, Jess, what were your thoughts on it?
You're muted.
You asked for thoughts, not
I
speech.
pretty much said it. It's the most fun I've had since the 2003 movie. Yes, all of what you said too. It was just slash them up. The only negative thing I can say is it's following the trend of 2018, Halloween 2018. I'm not for that usually, but I've gotten so they've done it in Texas Chainsaw so unsuccessfully. Oh, this is just a sequel to part 1. Oh, this is just a sequel to part 1. And this one I was finally like, whatever, this is going to suck. And I just had fun with it.
Did I miss something? Was there something that said that this was a direct sequel to part 1 or?
Yeah,
part 2 or?
Sally Harvesty's character is there and has a Polaroid that she should not be able to have.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting. This one all over the place in terms of opinions. There were people that liked it that I wouldn't have thought would have, and a lot that hated it that I thought might have liked it. I think the Dead Pit guys hated this one, if I'm not mistaken. I thought they might have enjoyed it, but yeah, I don't know.
They hated the remake too.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I like that it didn't try to do more than what it was. It didn't try to be a 2.5 hour epic.
Shorter movies in general.
Annoying, dude.
Talking about, yeah, 2.5 hours for Terrifier 2. I'm sorry,
dude. There's nothing that's gonna make that okay. I'm gonna prejudge it. And I won't have to eat my words because there's no way that's gonna be a good thing.
Well, story wasn't the strong point for the first one, so I don't get that. So
No,
shorter
honestly,
movies work.
I don't
now.
remember. I don't remember how long the movie is, but I rewatched it a few months ago, and I was like, "This is a little too long." It felt like there were parts that just felt slow to me.
I'll get ready to tack on a lot of time to that.
Dude, my hype for that movie is like 2 years gone. I'm not really interested.
So
2.5 hours. What the fuck?
no, that's legit. They've talked about it recently in interviews, and it's like, well, don't worry, like it's justified. And
I wasn't a fan of the first one.
It's justified.
Mm.
I guess it'd be justified if like an hour of it is just the credits and we can just turn it off.
Well, final thoughts on this movie. Did anybody not get their thoughts in yet? Lauren hated it. Kory, you look.
I like
It's
it a
good
lot.
to have, what's his name again? Dude, he did the little commercial. He did the voiceover for that once again. John
Larroquette.
John Larroquette.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's good that he came back. That's cool.
Yeah,
The Night Court guy?
it's always welcome.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, wow.
Did the
He goes back
original?
to the original movie, Kory. He did that intro. I know it almost
He was
doesn't really.
He was
sound
paid with like joints, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
that
yeah,
his payment?
that's right. He was.
nothing wrong with that.
I think there's better payment than what that kid got for sleepaway camp at the end, right? You get like beer or something.
He's never resurfaced, has he? The body double there.
I don't think so.
I think he's just one of kind of like the
That was
bear
actually
ass.
Jess as well.
Yeah.
What kind of 8x10s do you sign at a convention for that?
Oh my god, no.
Just like the bear ass zombie in the original Night of the Living Dead. Nobody knows really where
You should
she
own
is.
it. Be like Baby Dick, and then whatever his name.
Only $50 for a photo op with Baby Dick. It's a
I think this
His
is my
costume.
I think it's my third favorite in the franchise, and as a franchise goes, it's not great. Like,
Yeah.
I love the first movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. But
You know, like if I'm not wrong, Jess, are you're a fan of all the films in the NOES franchise?
Yes.
Okay.
Except for the remake.
Yeah, I figured you might say that, but
No,
it's just like
he's a super fan of the remake.
I can't. I don't even want to.
like
Don't believe me? Ask Sean. Sean will tell you.
Sean.
like for me, like this franchise is just I feel the same way probably as Jess does, with the exception I like the remake too here. I love all the movies in this franchise. They all, like, any shortcomings I'm pretty forgiving of them, because it's like, you know what I mean, if you know it, like if you think about your love for Freddy and stuff, like that's how I feel about this franchise. Yeah.
Okay.
Texas Homer.
Well, even more so, it kind of surprises me your ranking, though, sometimes, as a fan like this, that you're not a little more old school and loving even 1990.
I do love 1990, Jess. I don't dislike it. It's the one I had the least fun with. That's really all it comes down to. Like, I mean, I love Ken Furry. Any movie that he's in, I'm automatically just so stoked.
I mean, your least favorite Rocky is Rocky 4. So I mean,
That's right. It is definitely.
Oh my god.
Todd hates that one. He thinks it's a propaganda film, and I don't disagree.
Oh man,
Stallone's a dick.
So
anyway.
wrong.
Stallone's a
but the
dick.
communists lose, though.
Yeah, Jess almost squared up. He squared up to Stallone. That's a good story, Jess.
Tiny. We've told it before. We'll tell it again sometime somewhere else. I've told.
I
We've
must-
had enough of my
Rocky
stories
or
tonight.
Rumble.
I must be taller than you.
He is short, little.
Have you guys seen that Samaritan movie yet?
No, I
No,
haven't.
no desire.
Was it good, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
You guys
I
seen
mean, I
that
think the
movie?
first
No, was it good?
first
No,
20
it's not.
minutes is just pretty good. I was just curious if you guys what you thought of it.
Hey Jay, did you ever find Bugs Bunny attractive when he put on a dress and played a girl bunny?
Oh no.
I was just asking.
No. Maybe I did.
Neither did I.
So, Orc, do you get a chance to talk about the movie at all, or?
Kind of. Yeah.
Kind?
Yeah. So yeah, here's my thoughts. I think it was okay. I don't know. I'd say 6 out of 10 if I'm going by an IMDb rating. Yeah, I like that it's the woke PC-ness of it slowly got like destroyed throughout the film as it progressed. And I don't know why Lauren's shaking his head. I'm telling the truth.
Like you watch that
And-
video with rose-colored glasses if you think it didn't get more. It didn't keep its PC. message.
Hey man, I got pit vipers on. I'm doing great. But I like it. I don't know where I would put it rank wise, but I definitely like it way more than Next Generation and Leatherface, Part 8.
I will say this one is probably like my number 4. I would say it would be the original 3D 4, then this one. I do love it.
So does anybody else have any thoughts on the entire franchise as a whole, or?
I'm excited for the video
I'm
game.
not.
Odd.
I'm not a big fan overall. There's a couple that I enjoy out of it, but I think, like Jay was saying, it's a pretty weak franchise for me personally.
Oh, you know what? By the way, guys, Second Sight did a new documentary for the original. It's premiering at Fantastic Fest, and I think it'll be on their 4K release. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, okay.
I wish I
Yeah.
could go to Fantastic Fest, but my God, it's like $550 for a ticket.
Yeah, it's very pricey. Yeah, it's not
Overpriced fest.
it's not a consistent franchise by any means. Not the worst of the worst. You know, we have like probably Children of the Corn maybe gets that title, but yeah, it's certainly, they never came anywhere close to the original. The original is king. It's one of the greatest horror movies of all time, if not the greatest. And yeah, see the original, see the second one, and I would also say 2003 for sure.
And 3D, definitely. Don't skip that one.
I don't know. You could skip it, but
Don't skip it. Trust me. Trust me.
So 3D is one I need to see.
You have to see it, Kory. Like,
Yes.
just
You will enjoy watching it once at least.
Yeah, at least once. There you go.
Okay, so it's one you have to see at least once.
Yeah, you'll have some fun. You won't like be bored.
Well, I'll be honest. I enjoyed all the ones that I had seen for the first time. Like going back through and rewatching. Well, going back through and watching all of the ones that I have seen now. Like 3, 4. What am I missing? Oh, Beginning and Leatherface. I didn't hate them. I mean, and that's saying something because I hated movies like Halloween 3 when I first saw those. So I know. I'm in the minority on those, but I didn't hate any of these movies. I was able to have fun with all of them. It's to some level. So it's
okay.
Probably like if I were to like rank the entire franchise, I'd probably give it like a 6. It's not horrible. I've definitely seen worse movies, especially worse movies with sequels. So,
well, all in all, what was your top couple and your bottom of this franchise? Really fast, if you don't have the whole ranking.
Well, the first one would definitely be in my top couple. I don't know. The first one and the remake are probably my 1 and 2, and that's even kind of misleading. I'd say it's like my 1A and 1B. So I think the remake's almost as good as the original. I don't know which ones would be my bottom 2. I really like Next Generation. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, brother.
I didn't see a purpose for Leatherface to be in it. He's essentially set dressing in that movie, so
I think he goes nicely with the Hellraiser nipples.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What's your bottom 2, Jess?
I think I said it. It's Leatherface is the very bottom, 2017, and Texas Chainsaw the beginning. Come following that, that's the 2 bottom, and the first 3 are tied for first for me because I love them all in different ways.
Hell
yes,
yeah.
you can say the original's the best, but I love 2 and I love 3.
I think the original Nightmare on Elm Street is the best, but the second one's my favorite.
Well, we all know Jake's favorite is Freddy's Dead, so
I love me some.
Not my favorite, but I love it. Part 2
I
is my
love Freddy's
favorite.
Dead too.
I love Freddy's Dead.
That's what we're
Halloween
going to
4
talk about
Freddy's Dead.
in our interview, Jake. I'm going to talk about how much I love Freddy's Dead with you.
Fuck yeah, because I love that movie.
And Jess's favorite is the remake. We know that.
And it's fucking false. Of course, it's the original, and then part 3, of course, comes close, and then I've Grown to Love 2 is also in the top 3. Well, you can watch the show here on the Horror Rumble. We got an Elm Street episode last
Yes,
season.
we do.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Less fighting, but it's a little bit.
This is I think we're finally getting into what the Horror Rumble should be here in season 2.
There you
This
go.
is what it's about, losing it up.
Horror Rumble, you get violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me show this real quick, just so. 1 second, guys.
It's not your dick, is it?
No, I got the poster right up there. I do love the movie.
Oh, here, hold on. Oh yeah.
Ah, nice.
Oh yeah, dude.
I wish I could say it was a one
Cool.
sheet, but it's not.
I have most of the signatures on mine where it becomes more and more like one of my favorite things in my library because Toby's gone and we're losing more.
Do you have well, it wouldn't be on the first unless you got him for his behind the camera work, but do you have an autograph at all from Lou Perryman?
No, I don't have him.
It's a shame.
No, but the original cast, I have most everybody. Except Partain.
When did Drake?
Hold on.
Did Jim Cedo die? Wasn't it in the 90s?
Yeah.
It's a lot of cokes.
Yeah, fuck yeah, bro.
Oh yeah, brother.
That's a great documentary, by the way. The Family Portrait, because that's like the only time I really have seen Jim Cedo talk about the movie. It's just great to hear him talk about it. Yeah. I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah, you can watch that on YouTube. Yeah. Go back and watch the first one
By the way, for that matter, the Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre documentary is fantastic. If you don't like the movie, at least check that doc out. I think it's on YouTube also.
Absolutely.
Lauren, you got any final thoughts on the franchise?
It's one of those things where it probably never should have been a franchise, period. The first film is brilliant. It's a statement. It's an amazing piece of art. Trying to turn it into something commercially in line with other big franchises. Yeah, people will find films that they like and films they don't like, and you'll see the differences in people, what's forgivable in one film because they're having a good day or a good time and what's not. No one has to do that with the first film. It's kind of universally recognized for its greatness, even by those who dislike the film. Good art should evoke a strong response, and the original does that in spades. The others are going to be controversial mess for everyone. That's okay. If you like the films, that's cool. This is not the worst franchise in the world. I think every film is worth watching once in it. Even if you come away with some really bad feelings about it, I don't think you're completely wasting your time. But I do think it's very much an indicator of where we're at, whereas we can't let things just go. People just want more and more, thinking they're going to get something as great as, the first. In this case, the first film. In other franchises, it's a handful of films, but we never are going to. We need to just kind of stop. There's nothing special about having a numeral in your title. In fact, it's probably a detriment. So, this year there's been some really incredible movies that came out. Really incredible films that add to the horror canon. Moloch is currently my favorite thing of the year. If you're watching one of these Texas Chainsaw Massacre film sequels for the 40th time instead of watching Moloch, you're doing life wrong. Really, either find a razor blade or fix that. That's my
there's definitely been some good movies this year. I think most people probably here like X, I would say.
Yeah,
I thought it was all
awesome.
right.
It was all right.
X was fine. It's not going to end up on my top 10 for the year, though. So,
X has some really great TCM homage in it, which is nice, So, if you like TCM, the original, that's some nice little homage in that movie.
Lauren, everything you said, I agree with. But the one thing that I like more and more films from a big franchise to come out with is well when it does happen, what I do enjoy is new generations figure out and younger people like figure out what the movies are and discover them for the first time. And then in the case of Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we get a video game, which are among some of the funnest parts of my life playing. And anyone who played it can attest to that.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad that it could bring you that, and I'm glad that anyone who loves the films that I hate the most of the series, or at least dislike the most of the series, I'm glad that they found something they love. Make no mistake. My thing is, Texas Chainsaw is pretty much the same age as I am. The people coming up now, the 16-year-old who is looking on a streaming service for their next horror hit, they should have their own films for their own generation. They shouldn't be recycling the stuff I grew up with, and which was frankly even old when I grew up with it. So that's the depressing thing. We shouldn't be like still focused on the same icons that are 40 and 50 years old at this point.
Well, like you said earlier, though, is that movie is timeless, though. And I think there's a lot of things that will always be timeless. Like
sure, individual films, but we should be looking at it the way we look at The Exorcist. I mean, no one talks about The Exorcist really as a franchise. We talk about The Exorcist as a movie,
right?
For damn good reason, by the way. I think it would be a much more healthy environment, especially for younger genre fans, to not feel like they have to look so far in the rearview mirror. And there are great films right now that they could make their generation's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I think
I can't even fathom the thought that this generation could put together something of that caliber.
I haven't seen it yet. We've really had two batches. I mean, you've had the Universal type monsters, your Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, and then you have your slasher batch, which is including this.
We don't need the single figure icon anymore. I think that's the big difference. Hereditary, Payman doesn't show up and go boo, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, because we can't put it on a T-shirt as easily. People are not willing right now to make that jump. Right? Yeah, I'm guilty too, but from a way earlier decade. But we need to learn how to let go of the need to have a simple icon that we can put on a bumper sticker to let everyone in the world know we're the biggest fans of whoever, whatever. It's okay to love a lot of things. Love the genre itself.
Very true.
And I will buy some Hereditary action figures if they put them out. So,
dude, so would I. I would buy anything representative of that movie, whether it's like the emblem, that's throughout the movie. I would buy a prop head of Charlie. Absolutely.
Well, Dan bought the My Dinner with Andre action figures, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Now look, I always
Gabriel Burn on Fire action figure.
That I just we got to get the phone pole in there somewhere. Yeah, that should be good, Ben.
Thank you, guys. So, well, let's go around and what's coming up on you guys' channels and what's new in your worlds. We'll just go around the clock on this one, I guess. For Kory, S'mores and Doors, what's going on?
Yeah, we've been doing a bunch of interviews and a new show called The Collector's Inquisition.
Yes.
It's kind of a fun random interview series. Had some awesome guests on for that, and got some more people that are going to get scheduled up, and we'll probably bring back the tournaments in 2 or 3 weeks, and start off with a greatest comedy movie tournament. So,
Kory, and what's that other tournament going to be?
Another porn star tournament.
Hell yeah,
brother.
You would think that we would run out of these by now, but
well, thankfully we got the brain of Dan Shine on the job.
Come on,
Kory with a K. You can never run out of blondes with big tits. All right.
All right.
Jake, what do you got going on?
The old slaughter point, yeah. There you go.
Got Christian is gonna be on. Me and him's gonna chat, and then me and Andrew. I think next weekend, and then I got a couple. I'm just waiting to hear back on dates and times. A couple
I
big
feel like
ones for me.
Kory and I got bumped off the Tonight Show here. We kept getting bumped.
On what?
We were originally scheduled to do an interview with you, and you didn't show up at the studio. And then now all of a sudden you're big leaguing us with Christian.
What? We never. Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Oh, what? You don't
Yeah,
even
we
want us
did.
on now? Is that you're gonna act like it didn't even happen?
No, I said I need to get you
Is this
on
where you want to
sometime.
be when Jesus comes back, Jake?
No. I said I wanted
Picking
to.
on poor cable channel 11.
I said I needed to get you on sometime, but I don't think we ever talked about a date, did we?
Yeah, we did. Jess and I
Kory
were
got dressed
seriously
up
on
and
the
we were
phone
there.
with each other going, where is he?
No, you what? God damn it. Let me go. I get drunk. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think I get that drunk.
You did get drunk. And
I
you never
remember.
showed up.
Jake.
I think I was drunk, so.
You it was back when we were still doing the voting for the horror YouTuber of the month. You had
It's
Chris
been a
on,
minute.
you had Mike on, you were supposed to have Jess and I on.
Oh yeah, but we never did. We say a date though?
Yeah, we did.
I don't know. I'll have to have you back on. I don't know.
We'd love to be on, but actually, I'd more. Let's get a Nightmare on Elm Street series. He does a group of commentaries with a lot of these guys. Let's get
Wherever
that
I
going
can point
again.
to you. That's on you, buddy. You just tell me when and where.
On your channel, sometime in the next couple weeks.
Date.
And then a
Date.
horror of the 2010s. Are we on or?
Yes, but yes, I just have to figure out a date for everybody.
Okay.
She's cutting a promo.
Have your people call my people. Visited by Voices, Mr. Lorne.
Working on a Cronenberg retrospective longer video like I did for Lynch, which will cover the major themes of David Cronenberg's body horror cycle. We have a second episode of the Jukebox of Eric Zahn, which will cover Nine Inch Nails' The Fragile, with, of course, the regular panel, but also including my favorite living author. And we have a few other things coming up shortly that have to be solidified. Definitely a little bit of time between videos, more than I'd love, but health and work, right?
Yeah, they're worth the wait.
Exactly. That's it.
Cool.
That I can announce.
Or 145626.
Numbers are right. That's right, homie. Nothing. I hate my life. Next.
That's
No more
bullshit.
news?
He's got a lot of great Sodi reviews on there. He's got a new news show. Go check him out. The links will be down for all of these channels in the description. I'll put them up after this live stream. Daniel Shine, Fleshwind Features.
We have some more reviews coming up, but we got a big also franchise show for Night of the Demons, and we're going to have special guest Chris McGibbon of the Spooky Picture Show podcast, the guy I started out with in radio. He does Spooky Picture Show with Michael Felcher, and it's a great podcast. So check them out if you haven't. They're not YouTube, but you can get them on Spotify. And he also worked on the Night of the Demons documentary. So I can say, if you're a Night of the Demons fan, there is not a single person on earth that knows more about Night of the Demons than Chris. So you'll get a lot of cool behind the scenes stuff. And yeah, that'll be a really good time.
Sweet. Andrew, what's going on your channel?
Well, continuing to upload hauls on a regular basis. I think it'll slow down a little bit because there's a lot of things coming out in September and October, so I'm gonna kind of space things out for that matter. But I did just post a new live performance from Corey Feldman last night from the concert last weekend. So you're definitely gonna want to check out the Corey Feldman live performances because they are killer.
Excellent.
Nice.
And
Does he
Jake's
lose
not
his
on
tooth?
Every show his tooth falls out.
I aspire to be like him one day.
Same here. Like,
Andrew was supposed to sign him to do your birthday this year, Jay, but
Piece
that
of shit. He's big timing me.
Everyone's getting big time.
Getting big time by Fell Dog.
What happened?
We were just
Well-
wanting to know how many times you
Take her
spanked it
word,
to
Feldman,
Andrew's
that's,
video.
When? What? Friday.
The Feldman performance. Live in concert.
I don't know what's going on. Carry on.
Blu-rays. Okay, Jay the Stingray, are we Mr. Wednesday night and coming back and more commentaries?
I don't know. Probably not. At least for the near future. I'm just kind of taking a break right now.
Son of a bitch! I was looking forward to Ernest.
Oh, well. Ernest will be coming sometime.
and randomly want to, I'll be there, Joe.
Oh, cool, man.
We'll be there.
Always.
Or whenever you're.
And until then, check out the many great shows and videos on Jay the Stingray's channel.
Hey Jay, I just have something to say to you. I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you.
too.
The hell was that?
Thank you.
I don't.
What the hell was that?
I should have
That
just
was-
cut the show there, but
And credits.
and Kory, do we have anything coming up here? I don't know.
Not yet, but soon. Very, 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 very soon. I promise. I know I've been saying this all summer, but I promise we've got something coming up. Just keep your expectations in check. So
It's gonna be huge.
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 He's so small.
Jess, you got anything you're planning on?
I have ideas burning through my skull, but executing them. I'm hoping a lot of these guys that we are able to, maybe if we plan it a little more ahead, we've got the script already to attempt the Charles Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol, this December.
Yes.
A reading of that. I'd like to try that again.
That sounds awesome.
And possibly sort of an open discussion show. We were running some names around our head and more of a anywhere from whiskey and conversations to open bar type of show. You bring your drinks, your
Open bar sounds good.
alcohol and sodies. It's
Yeah.
Channel 11 and water works too. And you just, whatever you want to bring to the table. Same with the chats.
Yeah. Karaoke.
Sounds good.
Karaoke, sing a karaoke song, read some poetry, Jay.
I've got some lined up.
Damn, that's going to be fantastic. And yeah, just stay tuned. Cable Channel 11 here. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Our guests, you guys are always great friends. Andrew, I'm glad we finally got you on.
Glad that I had a great time, man. I'm so glad.
Ah, thanks. It's been a blast. This has been an exciting show. In the chat, you guys too. You play a part in that. Sean, Ben, Big Crack Rock, Chris at Slasher Home Video. I'm gonna miss somebody and feel super bad. Jamie, Ben, did I say? Sean McManus. Love y'all. And if I miss somebody, I am so sorry. We had Jessica earlier, I know. Big T, Mikey. Help me out if I missed anybody, guys.
Let's.
I think you
So-
got.
Oh, go ahead.
Stu.
Yeah.
Stu was a new one. My Mail, I think, came by. A couple people from Flesh Wound Features earlier show. Again, if I missed you in the chat, I'm sorry. Thank you for coming by. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Jonathan, for coming on.
Jonathan was, yes. And again, you'll be able to click on a link for all these guys' great channels in the description below. Until the next Horror Rumble next month, we'll see ya.